boys are going to bring the heat today.
As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juices pumping, boys.
Welcome to Crunch Time Sports with Jeff, Booner, and Lukas. It is Monday, April 14th, and it is Mock Draft Monday, all right? Not your typical, though, Mock Draft Monday, because we're not doing a Lions mock today, all right? At least past the first round. Next week will be our final Lions mock, okay? It's honestly only a week away, boys, so time's flying. Next week will be our final Lions mock draft. Today, we're going to do something a little different. I can't wait to do it. It's later in the show. I came out with my full first-round mock draft. The boys are going to question things, maybe agree with things, roast things, and we'll have discussions. And then the boys will have their own first-round mock draft, which we'll discuss. And then next week, like I said, final mock. But we're a week and a half away, and we have a spot, which is on the ticker there at the bottom. So,
come on,
boys, how we feeling? I mean, it's Monday, a weekend, 4 days?
Yeah,
I mean, weekend 3 days.
Today? Monday, Tuesday,
10
Wednesday,
days,
Thursday,
right? It's the
10 days
24th.
out.
10 days.
10 days out. Should be a fun time. I think we should wait until more people are in the show to announce like where we're going. We could announce it today, right? Like,
yeah. We're gonna talk about it a bunch, but people that are tuning in, rewatching, they just heard that. So
we got a spot.
Okay. Yeah, we do got a spot. So no, pumped up. And two, I just want to throw this out there too. Later in the show at like 9:15, we're gonna do more fan mock drafts. So if you have it, you have an hour and 15 minutes. If you want to do a mock draft, make it now, and then shoot it over to our Twitter or Instagram, and we'll throw it up there, and we'll grade it for you. My mic's turning down on itself over here. It's like the robots are taking over. I don't know what's happening.
Sound good, but we'll let you know if it dips. Good day, though, boys. 10 days out, like we said. Going to be at a good place. Sunny day out, Boone. Good temp. Got a good run in, but can't wait.
Yeah, I went for a little walk outside. Not a run, but a nice little walk.
Now. Hey,
a little nice air out there, you know?
Fill the lungs with some fresh air, Boone. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Xavier D said he misses the ball nowhere hat. I might have to just keep bringing it back.
You might have to.
Yeah, now at this point it's important. It's a sweet hat. I mean, then we have Doughboy Steve. Oh fuck, I hate this mock draft bullshit. Bye-bye. Well, Steve, if you're on a computer, just go to the top left or right, depending on what you're on, and just hit the fucking X button, and I'll see you later. All right. We got a lot to get up. Boone, your mic's muted. Yep. All right. Well, I mean, muted. Only,
what's wrong? Doughboy Steve, man. What's the problem? We're not talking mock drafts all day. At 9:15, there's an hour 15 minutes until Doughboy Steve until we do mock drafts.
Not Doughboy. Yeah, Doughboy Steve. I'd hate to make him upset. But yeah, we have another week and 10 days, or week and 3 days till the draft. So it's like after that, there won't be any drafts. But you have to appreciate this time because in June and July it stinks. It does.
Yeah, once everything's settled and you know what pretty much all the stakes are, every team. I mean, there's a couple things that happen, but there is like a good month. Like between the draft and training camp, there's a good month where it's like,
no.
Like after the draft, great. You got like 2-3 weeks where you can just keep breaking it down. And that's like, all right, what now? All the players go home. And it's kind of,
No. As long as we're alive, as long as there's ball to be talking about, we're good to go. I'm happy to be here. There's no down period for the boys. It's all up.
Yeah, just for football. I should.
No, not even for football. We're dialed in 24/7, 365. What are we talking about here now?
Yeah, you're right. I actually cannot wait to get to June.
I can't do that. I mean, OTAs, training camp. I mean,
well, that's not until like August, dude. All right,
OTAs is in like a month.
OTAs, yeah, OTAs is fun.
There we go. We got something. We got ball being played.
Yeah, we got something.
That's where the Giovanni Manu narrative starts arising for Jeff.
I enjoy the offseason. Yeah, I get to find those Giovanni Manus where I lose out on pizzas, but I get to find them.
Yeah, how about those Michigan Panthers, eh? That was
gotta win.
Malik Turner, boys. Big fan of Malik Turner.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We went out there, man, on Sunday. got to run into some people that, cover different things. I mean, we ran into our guy, Eric. Will Rock wasn't there this week, but he's there basically every week. So shout out to Will Rock as well. But we got to see the Panthers get a win. I mean, we were there week 1 and they lost. It was brutal, absolutely brutal. Brutal game.
By the way, Bryce Perkins.
No, he came in and he gave him there was definitely offensively, there was some woes throughout the season so far, but that second half they looked a lot better. They gotta let him run more with the football.
Yeah, he reminds me of like a Justin Fields. Remember when the Bears were just like not letting Justin Fields do what he does best and get on the ground and make plays? That's like, it's like, hey, let Bryce cook. He had a play, boys, and Jeff literally went to the bathroom and then it happened, and I was like, oh no, Jeff's gone. This guy, middle of the field, quarterback draw, open field, one-on-one with someone. The guy standing straight up tries to hurdle him. I've never seen a quarterback, an open field try and hurdle a defender. I've never seen it, but it didn't work. But it was still cool to be like, oh, quarterback just did that. That's sick.
Yeah, they were killing each other too, especially because I was able to watch a little bit of the first half, and it just looked like they were popping each other between who they play. I know was it
San Antonio?
San Antonio. It was San Antonio. Like San Antonio's defense was just smacking people. They won though. Shout out to them. Like I said, Malik Turner, I was watching. He got smoked twice and he was able to hang on to both catches both times. So they got
shout out
wide out.
Paige Buchers, drafted number 1 overall just now. Shout out.
WNBA draft, I'm guessing.
Currently, yep. We're getting sniped by those views right now. The WNBA.
You got any? Oh yeah, I'm sure that's what's doing it. The WNBA draft is stealing all the views. That's what's
all right.
Big night for him, man. Paige Buchers in the league.
Yeah. Well, let's get to the NBA because Zadarius Smith was at a Pistons game over the weekend, and we completely. Well, I didn't see this. It was posted on our social media, but I just saw this yesterday. Was this posted 3 days
Jeff,
ago.
This was Friday.
Yeah, and we didn't even talk about it. I think it was Friday night.
It happened during the show.
And I didn't see it Saturday, and I just saw it Sunday. So, I mean, and I saw Cash Doll wiping her nose with $20 bills.
Yeah, that was something.
It was but
that's honestly go ahead.
No, the fact that Zadarius is popping, he knows what he's doing. Look at him. Look at him.
He does. Why are we going to act like Zadarius isn't going to be a Detroit Lion? The man's in Detroit still. He doesn't want to leave her. He's not going to go for the NFL season. He doesn't want to go to Tennessee. He doesn't want to go to Dallas or anything. He's going to be in Detroit again. I feel like now it's a little bit calmer. Klotz said there's a 2% chance Zadarius signs back with the Lions. Wrong. Very, very wrong.
Might go up to 10 after the Pistons game, Boone.
After seeing that, it's probably I had it at 50-50. No, I had it at 33, 33, 33. I thought there was 3 teams involved. I had it at 33%. It's up to 45 now. It's at 45. No, I'm going to say 50. It's a 50-50 chance he comes back.
You think it's between Lions and one other team, essentially?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it could be a couple teams, but I think the Lions just have the big edge based off of like he's just was here. He might just want to be staying here. Is it Cash Doll that he's with? Is that her name? He's obviously in a relationship with Cash Doll, and they just went to a Pistons game. So, like, he obviously wants to still be in Detroit, or else he wouldn't be at a Pistons game. You know, like I think it's just money, contract. That's all it is. I've been saying it for a while. He had this year left on his deal, boys, and then he had next year dead cap, and we would have had to pay like the whatever 8-9 million dead cap. I think all it is was Brad just said, let's get rid of that dead cap. If I'm going to pay you, you're going to be here. So let's get a 2-year deal done. That's literally all I think it was.
Hey, shout out Doug, man. He said, sorry, boys. I just got in here. I was watching the WNBA.
Somebody else did too.
Shout out Doug, man. Hey, keep us updated. Who's number 2 overall? I mean, I could pull it up here.
40 Gumbel, late to the stream. Watching the WNBA draft.
WNBA.
Just update the picture.
You guys,
ticker, Boone.
Salute.
Salute. There's a team that has 3 of the top like 5 picks. I'm pretty sure. It's like unprecedented.
Yeah.
Best available right now. It says Haley Van Lith, and then S. Rivers is best fit for the next team. Oh wow, they're really going right now. They're in the 8th pick already. Okay.
What does that air on?
I think it's probably on ESPN, would be my guess. Yeah, that's my guess. Dominique Malanga from France got drafted 2nd overall.
Okay, all right. Let's try to move on here.
Sonia Citron got drafted 3rd overall to the Washington Mystic.
I think we
Kiki, 4th to the Mystic. Georgia. Kiki
That's
from
the name?
USC. Yeah, Kiki Arafian.
Oh.
Or Arifan. I'm not good with
They're
these
all,
names.
by the way, all great players. I just don't, personally, I'm just not tuning in to know a lot about these players.
Hey, that's on you, Jeff. I enjoy watching Andrew Reese.
It is on me.
I enjoy watching Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark.
All right. Yeah, all right.
It's going to be the WNBA woes you watch.
I'm telling you, hey, if you guys don't,
the NBA, the Pistons.
Caitlin Clark is game changer. She
The
changed
Pistons
the
are in the playoffs. All
the
right.
game forever.
The Pistons are in the playoffs.
You're a
That's
LeBron
what matters.
fan.
And they play on Saturday. And they play the Knicks in New York.
The Garden.
And by the way, we'll be live for that watch party. So we're locked in. But look at this. Remember this moment? When, our boy
Shout out Roman.
When our boy Roman cooked.
I don't remember
an
this.
Absolute banger of Josh Hart in a Pistons jersey, and Josh Hart said nah, and he signed with the Knicks.
Wait, go down. Can you go down to the comments?
That makes me. I used to really like
Shout out
Josh
Isaac.
Hart.
Isaac.
Hey, shout out
Can you
World
play the
Isaac,
video?
man.
Got it.
Yeah, this
dude,
but anyway, he said nah. All right, so this is who they're playing.
We don't want you anyway, Josh.
So I like that. I like that energy. I do. I'm excited. I'm fired up about it.
I'm pumped up.
And I know it's like we're gonna talk about it more, but it's real quick baseball. Who would you take right now, present day? Okay, 2025. Josh Hart or Asar Thompson? Which one you taking?
I mean, we don't need to do this question because there's one with the ceiling and there's one that's already at a ceiling.
I'm saying like for this year,
Right,
not like long. Like I'm saying like for this playoff series.
I know who I'm not going to say it.
This is how I guess to me, like Asar Thompson, I think he can guard. I mean, he can guard multiple positions. I think offensively, I would give the edge to obviously Josh Hart. He can shoot the ball. Like
offensively and rebounding, like a defense is probably the only thing that Asar has.
Huh?
Yeah, like defense, length, stuff like that. He's taller, but like Josh Hart, he's also pretty good on defense. Like you said, rebound, he can shoot the ball.
I think he's more like all around. He's what an 8th year, 7th year NBA vet that's playing at a high level. Like I think Josh, it's just different time. Like Asar in 3 or 4 years is going to be way better than Josh Hart. But like,
I agree.
I mean,
right
Asar is in year 2. So I think,
it's tough, man. I mean, you can't.
Great.
When you get to the playoffs, you got to be able to shoot the ball, like as a team. You know what I mean? So you have guys that can shoot it, like Josh Hart. It does help. But that's a good question, Klotz. I don't think I'm not mad at either answer. I'd probably go with Alina Sarr because I think he can guard more. He can do more defensively. I think that's what matters too in the playoffs. But I wouldn't be mad if someone was like, "Give me Josh, dude." I mean, he can shoot, he can rebound. So it's like
he does everything at a higher as of now. Asar's ceiling is so much higher though.
Yeah,
so.
I like Josh Hart. Yeah, on the back on when he was playing with Lonzo, like early Josh Hart, and then he turned into he's always been a pretty good player. Yeah, and then he went to New Orleans. But he was
playing in LA. That's where it was.
Yeah, that's where he was first at. But he's kind of like you said, Boone. He's kind of at where he is right now. And I think this Knicks team, it's going to be a good series. I think it's going to go 6 or 7. I do. And I think when we're watching it, it's going to be a lot of fun because in New York for game 1, I wouldn't want it any other way. It's going to be so much
MSG.
fun.
I said it last week. I was like, I want Cade to go into MSG. Cade has this little swagger to him too, to where like these moments are, I feel like what Cade is like made to like in the NBA. And he's been waiting for this. I don't know if you guys saw the Shams, is it Shams or Shams? Shams interview with Cade, and like you could tell like Cade's like I want to be the best player in the world, and these are the stages you kind of prove it on. MSG, they're like there's no better place. I think honestly I really do think I think the Pistons win this in 6. I do. I think they win 1 in New York, and then I think they win 2 at home, and then drop game 5 in New York, and then they come back
finish it up
game 6 and they win in Detroit. That's how I kind of see the series going.
I don't hate it. I think it'll take 7. I think like again, the inexperience will be a factor. I do think that the Pistons are playing better right now. I think they're going to be the more rested team and the team that has more energy because we know about Tibbs. But I do think, especially with the chemistry right now, like at least in the Eastern Conference, Boston, Cleveland, maybe Indiana, but I don't think there's a team playing better within themselves than the Pistons are right now. Again, there's teams that are better than the Pistons, but I do think it'll go 7, but I got the Pistons winning for sure. You said 6, Boone. I don't hate that, but I just think it'll go full length.
Yeah, I don't need to add more to that. I mean, you give me the Knicks, brand new kicks, chick flicks, Pistons in 7.
Come on. Hey, that was a good one. That was a good one. That was a good one. I'll give credit.
Wait, can you say the first 3 lines again?
No, I see. You get it once.
Well, it rhyme like you're trying to rhyme.
I think you
right?
said
because it would have been Pistons in 6 would have rhymed 100 times better. I feel like.
No, but I think it's 7.
You should have came up with a different. Rap,
you're not going to critique my.
You used a rap. You made up. You
Stephen A doesn't
freestyled.
look at Shannon and say, "Yeah, I wouldn't have done that."
But let's rewind the tapes. You freestyled the rap there, and you rhymed it with Pistons in 6, and you said Pistons. You just replaced it with Pistons in 7. That didn't sound right. I'm not a rap guru or anything, but I can hear. I know what rhyming sounds like. That was not it. You fumbled that bag.
Thanks, Klotzy, for
Klotz tried to hype you up when it was like
I thought it was pretty entertaining. I thought
even when you mess up, your boy over there is gonna just like, hey dude, hey, if you suck at something, buddy, you need to get better. Do you want a good friend or like what do you want here?
I don't know what that was.
Flicks 7. How does that rhyme? Flicks 6.
This is the fact
man.
that I have to explain it all to you is it just doesn't hit now.
Jamo like he said,
you just got to understand. You got to just
a good
get
friend.
You know what I mean?
Like look, Coach Walk, Netflix chicks. Oh, I'm not saying. Cut off, Boone. Did you guys see though the Pistons what they're doing with the tickets?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if it's real, but they're not allowing people outside of the market to purchase tickets, so Knicks fans can't purchase tickets at LCA. Like if you're in a certain area code, it's like if you're in Michigan, there's part of Ohio and part of Indiana, I believe it is, that can purchase tickets to the game.
I bet.
Yeah, and that's it. If you're not in those area codes, anyone outside cannot purchase tickets to the game on Saturday or whatever, game 3. That's sick. And everyone's putting Spike Lee on the picture. Spike Lee's not allowed in the house.
He'll find a way. I bet Spike Lee's there.
No, I don't want him in the LCA. Take away their serum. Their superpower.
It's like the Knicks mascot, though. The Knicks even have a mascot?
Spike Lee, Reggie Miller,
and whatever celebrities just decide to pull up, basically. And that's why it's good playing in New York. You get a bunch of celebrities out there. Keep LCA, mostly because these Knicks are going to buy a bunch of Knicks fans will travel. It ain't like anybody from Detroit's going to New York, and it's expensive. No one's, you know what I mean? Unless you got money, you're not going out there just for a game and going to Madison Square Garden and staying in New York. Yeah. But people in New York that make, whatever money, they can come to, Michigan and go to a game in LCA. I think Mike bought tickets. It was like $200, which is good amount of money, but it's like for good seats. Like
I know that purchase hurt him. Like that took a little hit on his ego. I bet buying playoff Pistons tickets while the Red Wings are going to be missing out.
Oh yeah, yep.
Good for Unc though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I cannot wait. It'll be a good one. We'll be live. So Saturday, come over to Crunch Time. Boys will be all on watching the game.
6 p.m.
Reacting to it. So come hang out with us. But in the meantime, today, boys, the Lions, they met with a player. Okay. Met with a certain player that plays a certain position. And he's a fine player. It's Matthew Golden, wide receiver. Texas.
That's wide receiver in this draft.
Who hit that? You got to turn that down. All right. Who was that?
It wasn't I.
That wasn't me. I wouldn't.
Hey, Boone. If your teammates got to call you out, you got to turn that down.
Oh, he was waiting for something to happen. Let's just work on your rap game.
But Texas,
no big deal.
Texas
dude.
wide receiver Matthew Golden. He's in town. He's a first-round talent. All right. So this, we talk about meeting with players. It is important. I don't know what to make of this because they wouldn't meet with them if they didn't like them. You know what I mean? It has to mean something.
I mean, go ahead, Boone. Go ahead, Boone.
I mean, this is what we talked about last week. And this, I'm not Listen, I'm not going to say, oh, it's Booner take a victory lap because the draft's next week. And actually, honestly, it has nothing to do with whatever they end up doing in the draft. My main point with Lions fans and with Brad Holmes and all of this will stand until Brad Holmes is no longer the GM of the Detroit Lions. And I would have to think 80% of Lions fans would agree with me. When you have Brad Holmes in the first round of an NFL draft, you can want any position group you want. You can think, hey, they need any position group they want. Brad Holmes does not care what you think they need. He doesn't care what the team needs in the first round. And that's not saying it in a bad light or a negative way. I'm being honest. Like, Brad Holmes is going to do his due diligence. And in his first round, he's going to get the best player that he feels is available, the best talent from top to bottom. It has nothing to do with, hey, we need an edge rusher. Hey, we need an offensive lineman. Hey, we need some depth at the safety. He does not care in the first round, and he has proven this year after year after year. The only year you can argue is last year, and he kind of went to that. He went to the sense of, hey, let's try and draft some guys to develop. And you guys, how did that work out, boys? None of us liked it now. We look back and we go, why didn't we just get guys who can help day one? And that's where I think Brad, and again, I'm not saying they should. This was the argument last week where some people thought I was saying they should take a wide receiver in the first round. I'm not saying that. But again, I'm saying in that first round, everyone needs to be prepared, whether you like it or not. That is for the first round for Brad Holmes. Howie Roseman drafts edge rushers and drafts defensive linemen. If you have the opinion that you want him to do what Howie Roseman does, fine. We probably wouldn't be in the position that we're in right now because of Brad Holmes, the way he does draft. So it's like you can't have it both ways. But it's the way Brad is. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if he picked a position outside of edge, defensive tackle, offensive line, and he goes and does something else in this first round. I would not be shocked at all. I would be sitting there and you boys would be crying and screaming like a 12-year-old kid, and I'm just going to be sitting there laughing at you, be like, this was Brad Holmes. Day 2 is when we really find out if he gets an edge and an offensive lineman and a tackle and the guard. That's the way this draft's going to go. Strap in, boys.
And I know the narrative. Prepare yourselves, boys, and that's fine. I am preparing myself, especially for Shamar Stewart. I've got to prepare myself for that one. But I can bite the bullet with that one at least because it's a defensive end. Or the thing is, you guys know how much I love Matthew Golden as a prospect. Like, I think he should be the number 1 wide receiver in this draft. I think he should be a top 15 pick. I am not saying that Matthew Golden is not a good wide receiver. Where in the hell is Matthew Golden going to play this year or next year compared to Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, and you add Matthew Golden in? Because all of those guys are about 6 foot and under. They're all extremely fast outside of Amon-Ra, and they're good route runners. There's nothing that Matthew Golden brings to this team that they don't already have. They have speed. They have really good route running. They need, after Tim Patrick, a physical wide receiver on the outside because who's also behind Amon-Ra and Jamo? Khalif Raymond. Khalif Raymond, yes, he's not as good as Matthew Golden, but he does that same role. That's got to be the trenches early. I understand, Booner, what you're saying, where you can't predict Brad Holmes. He took Jack Campbell 18th overall, Jahmyr Gibbs 12th, but that doesn't mean that I have to be like, he got Matthew Golden. I can't wait to see him as a wide receiver 3 for the next 2 years when you could have had an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman that could play right now and help the team right now instead of in 3 years when, honestly, boys, I love Matthew Golden. There's going to be a wide receiver in the next draft, the year after that are a very similar level of wide receiver to Matthew Golden. I would say overall, there's a lot of solid wide receivers in this draft, but as wide receiver classes that we've seen over the last 5 years, this is the weakest wide receiver class that we've had. Normally, there's easily 3 to 4 guys you can just be like, yep, no way he's walking out of the first round. There's a chance that Matthew Golden and Tedero McMillan are the only wide receivers taken. Now, could Ibuka pop in the first round? Absolutely. Could Luther Burden pop in the first round? Absolutely. But let's stop acting like, because I don't see a world where Matthew Golden falls to 28. If he does, still even then, there's going to be a defensive end on the board, and you can go get a wide receiver. Don't want it to be there, but in the second or third round. In the first round, I think it would be completely uncalled for and at some points irresponsible to take a talent like Matthew Golden. And I don't see the vision for how he's going to work in the first 2 years here with Jamison Williams unless you get rid of Jamo during that time. So I don't know. I love the player in Matthew Golden. Cannot stand the fit. Like, I think Matthew Golden is one of those players where it's like, I hope he has success in the NFL. For that to happen, I don't see it being in Detroit. Would he have success? Yes. But would he reach his ceiling of what Matthew Golden could be? No.
Yeah. Yeah. This is, and I know what you were saying, Boone. It's not like, and I don't know, you probably are talking to more Lions fans, but like there won't be a victory lap because there's nothing to even, we all agree. Like anything can happen.
Yeah.
So if the guy drafts a kicker, like there's no one going, I told you he could. Like I understand Brad is crazy. All right. And that's why I love him, because he's great at the draft. He's great at finding talent. So if he takes a wide receiver, will everybody be mad or confused, or not confused because they'll understand it's Brad, but just upset and be like, really? Yeah. And I'm in that camp because I look at this wide receiver class, boys, and it's not, to me, there's a lot of guys that I like. There's not really there's no one at the top that I love, or I don't think many people love that cover the draft. And there's always going to be guys that pop out that turn into pretty good players. But I think from, the Tetero and McMillan stuff, and he's a really good player, I still think so. But him falling, and you look at the second round, there's going to be like Jaden Higgins, other guys. And it seems like the field is kind of even. There's a lot of guys that are kind of in the same ballpark, and Golden and T-Mac and Travis Hunter kind of in like that next tier. But I don't think it's a significant drop off. Like I think Jaden Higgins can end up being like a Pro Bowler one day or whatever. Like I don't think it's egregious. So that's why it is a little confusing that, Matthew Golden would be like your best player available. I like Matthew Golden. Like you've been preaching about him, Klotzy. I think he'll be a really good player, but I would be like, okay, that's the guy you looked at. We're like, this dude's you know what I mean? This guy right here is so high on my board that we're taking him. And even though, and I don't think, obviously Brad doesn't think this way, but even though he's really not going to impact the game much this year, he'll play, but it's not, you got so many mouths to feed. It's not like Golden's going to come in and get 600 yards. He's just not.
Yeah.
So he's more of like a future, like a stash guy where like maybe, after Jamo, he starts really developing in 2 years, but then it's 2 years. You're wasting 2 years of a rookie deal. So it's like, I don't know how I feel about it. I like a wide receiver in the draft. I don't like it in the first round, but again, I think around 28, we said this before and I'll say it again. Like, I think there's going to be some good players where there could be other guys like Ray Zabel or whoever that would be just as much of a, I guess, on that BPA board as like Matthew Golden. But personally, guys, I don't even think Matthew Golden makes it to 28. Like, no. I think he probably does early 20s.
I don't even want to
trade up for him to go get.
I don't even want to have those. Yeah, but like those conversations are dumb to me because it's like Brad will trade up. So it's like it doesn't matter if he's available at 28.
I would be hurt more if he trades up for him.
And if he does that, like this is the point with Brad. And like again, like this is like again, you could complain over how does he fit? Like Brad will, like he doesn't care. Like I just don't get like Jahmyr Gibbs. I go back to that. DeAndre Swift and David Montgomery are on the roster, and he drafts a running back top 12 overall. And he goes, we'll figure that out down the line, and then ends up trading DeAndre Swift a few weeks later. Then he makes that move. But he makes these moves in the draft not based off of, like, do we have a roster spot open for him? No, he goes in the first, like specifically first round, he goes, who has the highest ceiling? Who has the talent? I don't care about, oh, we need this. Oh, where's he going to fit? No, I'm going to draft the best player possible, a guy that I see as an all-pro player at some point. And we should all want Brad to, in the first round, you want to find an all-pro player. How many first-round picks every single year do you average out getting an all-pro player on the first round? What, maybe 3 or 4?
Yeah, but Matthew Golden won't be an all-pro player.
But you're missing my point. I'm not saying Matthew Golden, Jeff. Listen to my point. Brad Holmes drafts in the first rounds trying to get those all-pro type players. He doesn't go off needs. He doesn't go off fit. He goes, who has that ceiling? I want the best player out of in the first round. And he searches for them. That's why he went and got Jahmyr Gibbs, who is going to be an all-pro running back and a top 3 running back in the NFL. And you have him on your roster. That's why he got Panay at 7. That's why he went Hutch. That's why he tried to go after Jack Campbell, thinking that he is an all-pro linebacker, which he still can be. Like, that's how I look at Brad Holmes drafting in the first round. He probably thought last year, Terrion Arnold, he said he had him top 10 on his board overall. So he probably thought his ceiling is an all-pro corner, and that's why he went after him. And yeah, obviously the need was there, but I think like in his mind is he wants an all-pro guy. Like he wants a guy with that ceiling. And I'm not saying that's Matthew Golden. He's met with Mike Green. He's met with Gray Zabel. He's met with Shamar Stewart, Nick Scorton, Matthew Golden. He's met with a handful of first-round potential draft picks. to where I look at it and I go, he's doing his due diligence. And if he finds a guy where it's just like through the roof and he's going to be a future all-pro player, and at some point you're probably going to have to move on from Jamo. You're going to have to move on from an offensive lineman. You need an edge rusher. It all ends up making sense at some point. That's where I think with Brad, it's like that's what he's looking for. And then in the second round, third round, fourth round, if you need needs, he goes after that. But I just think in the first round with the talent that you potentially get, like if Mike Green starts to fall, he did his due diligence. He met with him. He knows, like, go get him.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with Mike Green, though, because it's like it aligned. You can see the vision. If you draft Matthew Golden, you're going to have to trade Jameson Williams. And I'm not in a position like the DeAndre Swift argument. DeAndre Swift was playing for 3 years, and one, he's banged up. And then the last 2 years, you're like, DeAndre Swift hit a fucking hole. He was dancing behind the line of scrimmage, and you got him and Jamal Williams back there. They bring in David Montgomery, and they're looking at Jahmyr Gibbs. And I think Jahmyr Gibbs, you could see the vision because they weren't moving on with DeAndre Swift. Dude Staley left. Like, they got a new running back coach. It was clear that, hey, we're drafting Jahmyr Gibbs. And the second they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, you knew that they were trading DeAndre Swift.
Hindsight.
If they draft Matthew Golden, are you trading away Jameson Williams now? No,
hindsight with the DeAndre Swift thing, looking back, you're like, oh, that makes sense. Now they're going to trade him.
Everyone knew he was gone.
Yes, but going into the draft, not one person had the Lions mock to draft the running back, and he said, this is one of the best players on my board. I'm taking him.
I get that, but you can see the vision. Where's the vision with Matthew Golden?
So let me ask you this, Klotz. How confident was Brad Holmes 2 weeks ago to sign Jameson Williams to an extension? 1 to 10. How confident did he sound?
He said he's going to wait to pick
1 to 10. 1 to 10. He didn't say for sure he was picking it up. He said we're probably going to have to.
All I know is he said he's going to pick.
No. I'm asking you, when you watch that video of him talking about him and Brad and Dan talking about Jamo with the questions when they were asked, how confident were you that there was going to be an extension for Jamo over the next 2 years?
Yeah,
1 through 10. How,
in 2027,
that's the point. But when you go into that fifth year, whether you pick the fifth year up or not, that's when it turns into, after this year, that question mark for Jamo starts to turn because guys want contracts after with that fifth year option. So those questions start to happen. That's why I think like, oh, you guys are like, oh, the Matthew Golden thing wouldn't make sense because you have Jamo. After this year, that's when the questions start coming. And if they fall in love with a guy like Matthew Golden and bring him to Detroit to meet, like Brad is doing his due diligence. Like he is going to check every single option.
You're
acting like we have Jamo for 4 years.
I have no issue with them hosting Matthew Golden for a workout. My issue is wide receiver is probably the easiest plug-and-play position out of offensive linemen, running back, quarterbacks, tight ends, linebackers, safeties, corners. You see every year there's a couple rookie wide receivers that aren't even drafted in the first round that are getting close to 1,000 yards. When you say that with the tight end, you're like, huh? When you say that with the cornerback, there's locked people down. You're like, huh? You can find wide receivers in every draft. So to have a wide receiver like Jameson Williams, who's building up his value because they're probably not going to extend him to your point. So build up his value, let him build on year 2. And then next year, if you're like, okay, Jamo built his value, you can trade him then. But in this point with Jameson Williams, if he has another year like he does, you're going to go from, Jameson Williams, you might be able to get a first-round pick too. You know for a fact Jameson Williams is going to be worth a first-round pick, and you can go in the draft, which is going to be better next year and the years following, and you can get that wide receiver and something else. I just think it's irresponsible to draft a wide receiver in the first round this year when you just saw Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams. We just had the conversation a couple days ago. One of the best wide receiver duos in the NFL, top 5 wide receiver duo. Some people like you guys had him top 3. So you're going to now add in another wide receiver when you're trying to get Sam Laporta implemented back into this offense. I just don't see the vision. In a year or two, I'm fine with it. But this year, when you have a clear need in the trenches on both sides of the football, I just think it's flat out irresponsible.
Well, they drafted. I mean, there's a article that was put out, Mike Payton, and he's getting a lot of crap for it, which I was checking out and I was reading it because I read the article. And it was basically, the article's called "Don't Be Shocked If the Lions Trade Jameson Williams During the 2025 NFL Draft." Why and what they could get. And it was after the Matthew Golden, they met with him.
Yeah.
And he mentioned in the article that they would have to pay him $15 million for that fifth-year option, which it really isn't that much money, but it is $50 million. It is a raise from what he's making, and about half of what Amon-Ra's making. And he also talked about what they could potentially get. And he mentioned the Jags as a potential partner if you were to trade them to pair with Brian Thomas Jr. And he said that the Lions could potentially get the 88th pick and the 194th pick. So for Jameson Williams. And then the Jags get Jamo. So that's the trade. And now everyone was going at him for suggesting it, but I think it's, it's good to have conversations like this just to see. But I don't know. I think if you're in Brad's position, I don't know if you want to trade him right now because it's his first it's like his first good season. You know what I mean? I think you'd want to wait, trade him, see if he does it again next year. And I know there's the risk. What if he doesn't and he gets hurt or something? But it's like then I'll throw the other situation. What if he gets another 1,000? Then it's like, okay, now his value increased even more. And he's on the field. Now everyone's like, oh, 2,000-yard seasons. This dude's really starting to become a really good player. I don't think you trade him for the draft during the draft. I don't really care about the 2 picks because you don't need a bunch of picks right now anyway. You have a really good roster, so you probably want future picks. So if I would wait to see this Jamo thing play out. I think you have 2 really good wide receivers. They have Sam Laporta. I get like the BPA thing, but just my opinion, I don't think Matthew Golden at this point, like again, does much for them. And now in 2 years, he will. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I honestly don't really. I'm not going to buy too much stock in it. I'll say that right now. I don't think they draft Matthew Golden. All right, I'll just say it. And I clip this in a week and a half. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty confident. I think they're just doing their due diligence as they should. Meet with a lot of players they like. But when it comes down to it, I don't think they're going to be drafting Matthew Golden.
The Jamo thing too, by the way, like you at least have to wait until after this year, like until that 5th year is up, or that 5th year is like, hey, are you going to opt in? Like, what are you doing with that 5th year option? I think that's when the conversation really starts. Like, I just don't see a world this year where you're going into a Super Bowl year and you're just going to say, hey, let's just move on from a wide receiver 2, whether you draft a guy or not. Like you don't know what that guy's going to be. We see wide receivers in the first 2 or 3 rounds all the time, like not hit, like Jalen Reagor and guys like that. So it's like, you're going to lean on a guy like that instantly and hope. And that's where, for me, it's just like you have to keep Jamo at least another year and say, all right, what happens? And then it's like, do you want to opt in on the 5th year? How does Jamo deal with it? Because the T. Higgins stuff, like you see that stuff happening all the time with contracts. You don't know what's going to end up going down with it. So you do have to be prepared after this year, in my opinion. That's why, like, all of this conversation with the Matthew Golden stuff, like everyone will agree, and this is where my mind kind of changes. Like everyone will agree at some point in the draft, like 2nd, 3rd round, getting Jane Higgins or getting a different wide receiver in the 3rd round. Like, yeah, that's cool. Let's do that. But it's like if Brad loves a guy and has a high ceiling on the guy in the 1st round and he pulls the trigger on that, which again, let's make this clear before everyone starts yelling again. I would rather have an edge rusher. I would rather have Mike Green. If you're going to trade, go give me Mike Green. Give me Donovan Izaraku. I'll take Shamar Stewart. Like, I would rather have those guys, but looking in the mind of Brad Holmes to the point of let's not have this argument and just keep ignoring the fact that at some point you're going to need a wide receiver, whether it's an X or whether it's the same wide receiver. At some point in the next 12 to 24 months, this team's going to need another wide receiver too, potentially. That's where it's like he's meeting with them. Like it's a fact, and it's a bad thing. Like, no, he's just getting a guy with the higher ceiling than he would in the 3rd round if he got someone. Like, that's all it comes down to. It's like, how good of a player does he want to get? And I just like the Jamo thing. Like, he's probably, and I saw people arguing on Twitter about it, saying, oh, you're going to pay Jamo. You're going to pay Jamo. I saw people shout out Spenny. Spenny was like, I don't want to talk about the Jamo thing, right? Like, these are conversations that have to be had now because in the next 2 years, contracts are up. 5th year options are up. You're going to have to extend. He's going to want $30 million. Things are going to have to happen. Those conversations have to be had today so you can keep preparing yourself for the next 2 or 3 seasons and after this next season as well.
Yeah.
And real quick too, Shift got said our biggest weakness is not wide receiver. Like, that's not the point. Like, I got to stop talking about this stuff. I don't think people are understanding the whole underlying point of this 1st round. Well, I really don't.
No, because I think we're having 2 different conversations. That's the problem. There's a conversation what Brad does and what we think. You're trying to say what Brad does, and we're responding what we think, and it's not lining up. We know what Brad does. I understand what Brad does. He drafts anybody, but like you agree, that's why there's really no argument. We agree, bro.
Yeah, 100%.
We don't want a wide receiver.
I mean,
So,
the
we
edge
should
rusher
start
is the
there
need.
with the conversation.
But again, like, and 2 years ago, what did everyone want with that 12th or the 8th overall pick or whatever it was?
Jalen Carter.
I wanted
What
Jalen
happened?
Carter. But
Exactly.
when they took Gibbs, listen, Gibbs is a really good player. I just thought, man, like, it's the running back thing. But regardless, I don't think, in my opinion, that's the greatest example because Jamo and DeAndre, like Jamo is under contract for 2 years and he's way better than DeAndre Swift as a player. You know what I mean? Like,
but
that's
it's the same underlying scenario to where it has nothing to do with, and that's why I didn't want to bring that up initially, but it has nothing to do with who is in those positions already. Because that's the exact point that I'm talking about, that Brad does not care of who you have on the depth chart. Like, he does not. He doesn't. Like, the depth chart, in the first round of a draft, he puts the depth chart away and he throws it.
Yes.
You guys are bringing up the argument, well, you still have Jamo. He doesn't care. If there's a wide receiver that's at that level and on the board and he's like, oh my gosh, boys, whoa. Yes. That's the point.
No, and trust me, I know I understand, and you're making sense. I understand. It doesn't matter about the depth chart. He'll take the best player he thinks is available. The problem is, I don't know what Brad has. We don't know what his board looks like, so we have to kind of. So, but then again, then there's no content. We just wait till the draft and react to it. You know what I mean? Like we can't speculate.
That's why I'm like, my board, edge rushers.
Okay,
Gray Zabel.
And we don't even have to argue. We agree. We don't want a wide receiver in the first round, dude. None of us do. So we agree. Like, that's the confusing part of it. But again, he's doing his due diligence. That's fine. Now, I'll ask you guys. The more surprising pick. He's met with safeties as well. He's met with some late round corners. What pick would you hate more? A wide receiver, corner, or safety at 28?
Should we rank them?
Yeah, rank them. What pick? What would sting the most?
I think number one.
From the most liked to least liked.
No, most hated.
Number one is most hated position.
Yes, okay. 1 to 3. Wide receiver, corner, safety.
Klotzy?
In that order: wide receiver, corner, safety. Because at the end of the day, what do the Detroit, and this is the only reason why, what do the Detroit Lions need to do better as a defense next year? Get after the quarterback. Safety can get you after the quarterback a little bit. A corner's not giving you a sack. If Brian Branch or Kirby Joseph goes down, you have pretty much nobody. I know they brought in Avonte Maddox, but he's more of a nickel guy. He can play a safety depth.
Right.
If Terran Arnold goes down, Amik Robertson steps up. If DJ Reed goes down, Amik Robertson steps up. If Amik Robertson goes down, Ennis Rakestraw, second-round pick who you took last year, steps up. If Brian Branch goes down, Kirby Joseph goes down. Who? And especially in the middle of this draft, boys, and I know we're talking about first-round specific, but I just think when you look at safeties in this draft compared to corners in this draft outside of Travis Hunter and Will Johnson, there's nobody who, jumps out at you. If you look in these first 2 rounds, like Malachi Starks could go, Imawari could go, there's a couple of guys in these first 2 rounds that could be very elite, and then the 3rd to 5th, you got Billy Bowman, you got Craig Woodson out of Cal. There's a bunch of good safeties in this draft. Yeah, they're not going to be Brian Branch or Kirby Joseph, but they're going to be seeing the field a lot more than a wide receiver or cornerback would. And if these picks do go to see the field, like let's say you take a corner and he's starting out there for you right away, or especially late in the middle of the season, there's a problem with the signing or draft pick you made in the last year. So you got to let these guys grow. Pennywise, I do say especially a lot. Shout out.
Lucas, especially Klotz. What about you, Boone? Top 3?
I'm just stuck on this corner that you threw corner in there. I really am.
Yeah, I with Maxwell Hairston.
Yeah, honestly, I think I would put corner number 1. I would hate it.
No, I agree.
That would be the one position. If wide receiver happened, I would just be in my mind, I'd be like, all right, we had this conversation. I was a little prepared. Okay. And I see a vision. At least I can talk myself into saying hey, I see it. Now they have a replacement for Jamo. At least this next year, you have an insane wide receiver core. But corner, if they went corner in the first round, after going corner in the first 2 picks, your first 3 picks of your draft your first round picks in 2 seasons straight were corner, and you just signed DJ Reed, and you just signed Amik Robertson, and you just signed Avonte Maddox, and you just signed okay. Klotz, Klotz, corner should be number if you really want to talk about getting mad about needs, If we're talking about needs, if people want to keep coming at me about that, if they draft a corner in the first round, even the second round, I would be like, where are all those people that were coming at me about the needs? Because I would probably almost break my laptop in half if they had a corner in the first round.
I think
I would dump the Kool-Aid in the garbage probably. I don't know.
He just wants out.
Hey,
Boone. Go on, Jeff.
You know what I'm about to say?
Prepare yourself.
You never know.
The only reason
fair.
I went wide receiver over or a corner over wide receiver, Boone, is just strictly because it's on defense.
But I don't even care about that because the defense, like at the end of the day, Klotz, like the defense, that argument, I'm out on it because you had a top 10 defense before injuries. Like you have a defense. It's strictly just edge rusher that's like the main issue. And then if you want to make the argument that third safety, like if someone goes down, who's stepping in? That I can deal with. I just can't deal with the corner thing because you have brought in you just paid a guy 17 million, 16 million. You just drafted back-to-back corners in the first and second round last year. Let Ennis Rakestraw play. I don't care if he's not. Throw the man out on the football field.
No, I agree. I agree. If you draft a corner, that's number one for me, and then wide receiver, then safety. I think safety, I'd be the least like. I wouldn't like any of them, but safety. All right.
Like if we drafted a wide receiver first round last year, and then this year we're like having the Matthew Golden conversation, I would break my laptop. I'd be like, you just drafted one.
But to your point, if you draft a corner, you're basically admitting either Terran Arnold or Ennis is a bust. I mean, that's
agreed. And then you just wasted that pick.
You're basically being like, all right, let's take another corner because one of these dudes ain't gonna work out, or we have less confidence in Ennis working out. If you like your picks, you're not drafting a corner because those two guys you eventually think will start at some point. You know what I mean? That's why you take those guys first.
Josh Rosen, Kyler Murray effect. Draft Josh Rosen year one. This dude sucks. We're back here.
And it's not even fair to Ennis because at least Josh played. Like Josh played, and you knew he stunk. Like Ennis hasn't even played. Like I mean, we don't even know if he could play. Like how can you make that assumption already?
And with safety, I could convince myself with safety as well because of that third spot. Like I definitely can. Like I wouldn't.
Yeah, and
I did a couple weeks ago
that need to be paid a lot of money, which I like. Again, I don't want to move on from him, but like I can, like you said, I can see like the vision. You have two corners on rookie deals, dude.
Especially if Malachi, well, especially if you actually break it down.
And you signed DJ Reed. Sorry.
I'm just trying to think of scenarios like when we talk about this. Like again, when we had these conversations and everyone's like, "Oh, Booner, blah blah blah." When we had these conversations, all it is, it's like, all right, if he does go outside of the trenches, right? Like, can I see myself convincing that, okay, I could see this fit. The wide receiver, I can see it work because of Jamo. The safety room, I can also see it work because you're going to have to pay 2 high-end safeties in the next few years as well. And you don't have a third safety on the roster. So, like, if a Malachi Starks falls and you're sitting there and you have a corner and Malachi Starks on the board, you better be drafting Malachi Starks. If that's the only options, if you're like, you have to pick one of those two, it better be Malachi Starks or Nick Amanawari. If it's between that and a corner, you better, like Malachi Starks can play nickel. I'm sure Nick Amanawari could play nickel too. That man, I mean, he is the size of a linebacker.
Yeah, I think those three, now that I'm like, we're going through all the possibilities, man, like those three are probably, you won't see those three on any of our like most wanted lists. You know, you'll never see any of those three positions.
We got to come out with that next week too.
Because we do. Will. That's coming soon.
Like last year, our most wanted had corner in it, and it was like,
and he ended up drafting a corner. So I mean, it was actually Klotzy's number one corner he ended up taking, Terran Arnold. So those most wanted lists, hey, they got some relevancy there. But I think those three positions, in my opinion, you look at just past drafts, man. Corner, safety. Corner, I think, is different, actually. Corner is a little different because you can find good corners you draft in the first round. Wide receivers, you know, they're found everywhere, but elite guys you take in the first round. I get, like, if he's really good, you take him. Like Justin Jefferson, all these guys. Jamar goes top 5, whatever. But safety, it's like,
Brian Brandt, second
you
round
have
pick.
to be like, you got to be
Kirby. I'm trying to think of like Kyle Hamilton and Derwin James in his prime are like and Derwin James went in the back of the first round. Kyle Hamilton, I think, was 14th overall. Like Javon Holland, second round pick. Kirby Joseph, third round pick. Brian Brandt, second round pick. Minka was a first round pick. But so there's another one.
But those three are found. Those
kind of like the tight end. It's like the tight end of defense. Like it's great to have an elite one. There's not that many elite ones, so that's why you're going and you're just finding a solid guy in those middle rounds. But if there is somebody sticking out, to your point, like a Malachi Starks, you take him in the first. Like nobody's gonna hate you for it at all.
I think like if it comes down to those, like if this situation happened and it came down to it, it would have to be, in my opinion, it would just have to be you got. Like you just had a prospect you couldn't pass on because he's that good. Yeah. That's the whole underlying factor with both of these last two conversations, and this one with the safety and the wide receiver. It's just like if there's just a guy who's just like, how is he? Like, say you don't trade up and you're sitting at 28, and it's like, man, I hate it because I want an edge, but like it's just a guy like I don't know, a guy.
I've heard a lot of good things about him too. Xavier Watts. He's is that Notre Dame?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard.
I think he was going to be a first-round pick before this last year. I don't know what happened. Was it an injury?
Mm-hmm. Ryan Clark, because Ryan Clark's son always talks about him, like on I think they on NFL Live. They play together, and he's always like preaching about Xavier Watts.
I mean, Super Bowl Wilson says Branch will be a top 15 pick in a redraft, maybe top 5 to Seahawks. I mean, But yes, but you can't do that either because Richard Sherman would have been a first-round pick.
Yeah, he was a fifth-round pick.
Amon-Ra would have been a first-round pick. But the fact is, when you take those players, they don't go in the first round. Typically, you find the point is those positions are a little more. You find a higher volume of hits in those players. You just do. Like your two starting safeties aren't first-round picks, and they're the best safety duo in the league.
Yeah,
like it's just how it is, man. Like. Wide receiver too, like DK Metcalf, not a first-round pick. I mean, you can keep going. Now,
what about the safeties he's met with?
Now there are elite guys like Justin Jefferson, Jamar, but Devontae Adams not a first-round pick. I'm just going off the top of my head here.
I guess I can pull it up here.
I know they met with Jonas Sanker out of Virginia.
Jonas Sanker.
Did they meet with Craig Woodson out of Cal?
Let me see. I got it pulled up.
That I don't know.
Jonas Sanker.
They met with some safeties though.
They met with Sanker twice. Top 30 visit and
Makuba,
a combine formal. So Sanker might be the one. I'm going to watch some film on him tonight.
Yeah, Sanker's good. I know they met with Makuba.
Jalen Reed, Penn State. Jalen Reed. That was a local visit.
They met with. Didn't they met with Winston, the other safety?
Andrew Makuba from Texas.
Maybe I got that wrong.
Yeah, I think you might. I don't see him here. That's it. I think that might. Rod Hurd from Notre Dame.
Not familiar with his game.
All the safeties it looks like here.
Yeah, but Sanker like Sanker
McMillan
would be a good like third-round pick. Like that'd be like
what
I mean? Or
Makuba to be like the enforcer. Like remember how if he would just be able to come in and smack people, like Makuba could come in and do that. Makuba could be a starting safety in the NFL without a doubt.
I mean, what's his name from Ohio State?
Ransom Boone.
Ransom, yeah. I mean, if that happened, they haven't met with him though. Like that's why there are some guys in the second, third round. I wouldn't be shocked if the safety if they just try and find a guy later on. Because I mean, think about last year. Who was the kid that they drafted out of Notre Dame or they brought out of Notre Dame a year ago or 2 years ago? And yeah, and then I think was he the one that got in trouble? Yeah. So, but like he was a guy that we felt like he was like that third safety or the guy after Iffy, to where it was like, and when he came in, it was like, no, this guy's legit. Like, and they just found him. He was like a diamond in the rough. So I think that's one thing Brad's good at, especially that position. Like he's been able to find some dudes where you feel comfortable with. He might be like 4 for 4 with safeties, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all outside the first.
Hey, Harrison Smith went 29th overall. Yeah, but like another one, TJ Watt, like he would go top 5 in a redraft. So it's like you can do that all day with players. Benji says Sanker is that iffy style when it comes to box play.
Love that. I'm gonna watch him.
Yeah, he's well rounded. I haven't watched a ton of him, but from what I've read, he's it's good value. You draft him in the third round, that's a good pick. And that's why I think Brad. I mean, you can just because he doesn't meet with guys, he'll still draft them. I think first round's probably more so guys they talk to, but past that, he doesn't have to. It's not only guys they meet with. There's been draft picks they haven't met with, and they still draft. You know what I mean? They've probably done intel on, and they have like intel.
Yeah.
To make, like they have enough intel, like they know he's not a terrible human being, and they know he's a good football player. He loves ball. You know what I mean? They check a lot of things, but. It's not only guys they meet with. It could happen. I mean, they met with Derek Harmon. Come on.
I'd be fine. Hey, your boy.
Yeah, I know.
I saw something in your mock draft that was a little contradicting there.
No,
I was supportive of it though.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
we'll get to that. We'll get to that because that'll be fun. That'll be good. That'll be a good discussion.
Jeff, consistency, brother.
No, because I'll explain. I'll break that.
Consistency.
I'll break that all. Boone, I'll shred that. I'll shred that whole thing when we get.
Whoa, pause.
I'll shred that whole thing.
Whoa.
My mock today. We'll get to it later, but it was more so what I think the teams will do.
That you know what that's fair because
it wasn't.
I did a mock on Friday. I was gonna put it out, and I did it after we did ours at night, and I was like, I just want to do what I feel like teams are going to do.
Yeah, not what I think, because then it skews things, and I just think it's what I think. Now, when we talk about the draft, Klotz, we got into a little argument in our group chat. This guy's barking me. Over the weekend, he's chirping, and I'm sitting here reading the phone, and I
saved the Rich Eisen clip too. I didn't send that.
Oh,
Rich Eisen's on board.
Don't you?
I don't. Klotz, I'm with Jeff
on.
I'm with Jeff on this one. I don't think it matters who's on board and who's not on board. I think there's a what's the word I'm looking for?
Your Tyler Warren to the Jets thing, is the dumbest.
I think there's an integrity to this, Klotz. I think there is, and I don't think it has to do with Tyler Warren going top. I think there's something behind this, Klotzy.
What do you think, Boone?
We've had a lot of conversations about tight end.
My thing is just this: if they take an offensive lineman at 7th overall, good for them. But if they take Tyler Warren 7th overall, good for them. And you guys it's like
no. So for the chat. So we have this, and you guys are here for our Fridays, right? Our Friday mocks. Before we move on here, just a quick little background. And we do our first round mocks, and Klotzy, Klotzy stated on the show before, we've had discussions about top 10 tight ends and even first round tight ends, high first round tight ends, and dating back to when Tyler Warren was going to the Colts, and we were all in agreement. We're like, tight ends this early.
That's the big one.
If you're drafting someone this high, like Brock Bowers, it better be like Brock Bowers level. You know what I mean? That's what you're expecting, literally all pro Hall of Famer. That's basically what you're drafting at that position. And we agreed we didn't really love it. But then all of a sudden, Klotzy had this awakening. Epiphany over the weekend where he's loves Tyler Warren top 10. And my argument is okay. But Klotzy, you do realize first draft pick ever in the Aaron Glenn regime, they're taking a tight end. That dude better be the GOAT of tight ends that, or else that pick is the way.
He does
this
not.
Man got mad at us for Tyler Warren 15.
Why are you doing that? Why would they do that? Why would they do that?
This is why, boys.
Because it's you know why? Because you want another television in your house.
Can you explain?
I think Tyler Warren isn't a television for the Jet. Go ahead, Boone. Then
I just want you in your rebuttal too. I would just like you to explain, because this is the one that this is the integrity part, Klotzy. You would get mad at us for drafting Tyler Warren 15th to the Colts, and half of that argument was you're not drafting a tight end that high, and it's a waste of a pick, and there's better players out there. And then that's where I get a little, because me and you went at it last week a couple times with draft stuff about switching flip-flopping different plays. And I said, Klotzy, go out on the sand with your flip-flops.
Oh no, Boone, your mic.
Mike's out.
Your mic's
out. Your mic's out. Your mic's out, dude. You're screaming.
I'm being cut off by the government or something. I'm trying to talk here, man. I'm just saying that's where I'm all right, Klotzy, you got to stay with it then. And you can't now next year when it fits your narrative, you can't switch back and being no, you can't take a top 10 or top 15 tight end. We can't have that.
You now like tight end.
Right. Can I explain my epiphany for you boys?
Yeah.
This is my epiphany. So New York Jets, they need glaring defensively. We can all agree, they could use some pieces on defense, but for where they're at right now, it all has to be offense, correct?
Offensive.
They need to go offense, right? And again, I'm not saying that if they take Membu or if Will Campbell falls, I'm going to be like, what are you doing? But Tyler Warren, compare him to a tight end like Colson Loveland. Colson Loveland would be idiotic to take anywhere inside the top 20, in my opinion. Because what can Colson Loveland not do? Block. If you watch Tyler Warren's tape, he is bodying defensive tackles, defensive ends, linebackers. But what else can he do? He's a consistent around the quarterback threat that has great yak and great playmaking ability. So what you're doing is you're saying, hey, I know we need offensive line. You got Membu, you got Will Campbell, but I think when you're in the second round, there's guys like Donovan Jackson. Maybe Josh Simmons somehow keeps falling. And then you look at guys like Ariante Ursi, Wyatt Milam out of West Virginia. There's a lot of guys in that second round who are not as good as Membu, not as good as Will Campbell, but there's not a tight end in this draft that will be able to benefit the Jets in multifaceted ways as far as blocking for the running game, blocking for the quarterback, and also being basically their second threat at the wide receiver position because they have Garrett Wilson and who else? No, they have no one. So I think when you bring in Tyler Warren, what that does is it's a pick that's like, it's a sexy pick now. You pass up on the offensive tackle where you could get him later. But then you're giving Justin Fields year one a consistent threat because when he was in Chicago, who was his favorite target? Cole Kmet. But you're also, when you draft that replacement for Justin Fields, rookie quarterbacks and tight ends fit like hand in glove. Who was Jaden Daniels' favorite target when it came to actual receptions? Who led the Washington Commanders in targets and receptions this year? It was Zach Ertz, a guy who was basically coming off the couch. He was signed with the Detroit Lions last year in the playoffs, didn't even play. So I think Tyler Warren, I think it would be the sexy pick for the New York Jets instead of the secure pick. But I think either an offensive lineman or Tyler Warren at 7th overall, it'd be basically like Aaron Glenn going, we're going to go BPA. We got a long time. We're not going to be good. We're going to be in this situation for a while. You take Tyler Warren, you have a consistent all-pro type of threat at the tight end spot for the next 4 to 5 years to develop with the quarterback. And he's also going to be helping Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, and the quarterback block up front. He's an extra offensive lineman, essentially, which is the same thing that Sam Laporta was. If the Lions were to take Sam Laporta in the first round, looking back on it, we wouldn't love it, but we definitely wouldn't hate it. And I think that Tyler Warren does have more upside than Sam Laporta.
Can I respond? Because this might be, and I've had a lot of battles with Klotz. This might be the most frustrating one, in my opinion. This team, like you just argued, Klotzy, that they need help blocking, that they need help in the run game blocking, that they need help, guys.
And they need another pass catcher.
Yeah. Hold on. That they need help blocking. That was your main point. You said that 10 times before you even mentioned Tyler Warren's catching and pass catching.
Because
the underlying point with this whole thing is they need help on the offensive line. They've built up an offensive line over the last 2 or 3 regimes that they've had. And the last piece to finish this puzzle is right tackle. And Armand Membu is a natural right tackle. And if he is sitting on the board and you pass on him and go Tyler Warren, when you have a chance after just signing a quarterback, potentially maybe getting another one, a rookie here in the next few years to kind of be your franchise guy, to solidify your offensive line, to protect your quarterback, to help, as you said, Tyler Warren will help Breece Hall blocking and get him more holes, to help solidify your offensive line. And then maybe I'm wrong and boys can correct me. We just had a conversation last segment talking about how positions like safety and tight end, you can find guys in the 2nd, 3rd round like Sam Laporta who can play at those levels. Whether, again, Tyler Warren, different level potentially, but you are not finding a 1st-round offensive tackle, mind you, a top 15 or top 10 offensive tackle in the 2nd round at that value. You can go get Irsay. He might not be ready day one. And now you're sitting there again going, oh, we have a right tackle issue. Justin Fields has dropped back 10 times and been sacked 5 times from the right edge there. That's a problem. To me, it's you go out there, you make the right pick. Aaron Glenn, you start your regime off with the right pick. You get Will Campbell or Membu, whoever's on the board, and you throw them at right tackle and you run with it. And you just built your offensive line is set to go for the next 4 or 5 years of your regime. And then guess what? You can go do all the sexy picks all you want after that. You just solidified your offensive line for the next 4 to 5 years. You are locked in. Go find yourself another tight end in the 2nd round if you want, 3rd round. Wait till next year, get someone and bring someone in free agency. It would not be smart at 7th overall to go Tyler Warren. That would be, in my opinion, I think that would be one of the worst moves in the 1st round if you went Tyler Warren and you have Membu and Will Campbell on the board and you're the New York Jets who are looking to kind of turn this franchise around. That's a Klotz, you know what? That's a New York Jets decision that you just said. That's a New York Jets decision. That's why the New York Jets haven't been good since Braylon was there. Because they have been they'll go Tyler
and Adam
Warren.
Gase and coaching and
yeah, I mean there's a lot, but that's just, I mean, to me it's just like, what are we doing here? And like,
so like
again,
you
it goes back like you didn't even answer the question. 3 weeks ago when we draft Tyler Warren 15th overall to the Colts, you're throwing a fit yelling at us like, what are we doing taking a tight end?
I told you, but I again, yeah, because that's why I went so emphasized on Tyler Warren blocking, because he fixes.
But then if that's your thing, draft a tackle. You need one.
So Booner, that's where again you're hearing my first part, but then you're zoning out the second part. So they need somebody to block, right? Tyler Warren, as far as what he can do as a blocking, if you watch his film as a blocker in the Big Ten at Penn State, he was fucking elite. He's bullying guys around the offensive or the defensive line in front seven. They also need somebody that can catch passes and be an explosive playmaker over the middle, because you have Garrett Wilson. You don't have anyone else after that. So if you go Tyler Warren and then you're able to say, hey, that's helping us with blocking and catching, go tackle, then go receiver, then go just defense heavy or more offensive lineman. You're going to be able to find
you need a day one starter
the next couple of years. Like, do you guys think either Will Campbell or Membu are a Penei Sewell or Trent Williams, like in that tier?
They're day one starters. There's a reason they're going to be top 10.
No, yeah.
Well, yeah, but like we're talking about an offensive tackle.
You don't have
like
to
now we're talking about now we're talking about value wise. What in a draft? What's more important value wise, a tackle or a tight end? Okay, then what are we? The conversation is done. We have a next segment to go to. That's the that's the whole argument, Klotz. It's the value of the position.
I was just confused, Klotz, because when we were talking about it, you like earlier you put it really well, Klotz. You said tight end's a luxury, right? When people have good tight ends, it is a luxury. And you also mentioned how it's easier to find wide receivers past the first round, like weapons. You know what I mean? So that's where I was like, oh yeah, he's cooking. And then you said that thing. I was like, again, we like Tyler Warren. I just think, man, like if you want pass catchers, you can draft pass catchers. I just think a starting right tackle for the next 4 or 5 years is gonna help you. It's gonna help your quarterback. I know, like Tyler Warren, but if you can't block, and they don't have a right tackle right now, so that's where we disagree. But you know what? If you've had an epiphany, Klotzy, I'm holding you to that now. Because you were with me in the trench.
But here's the thing. If Tyler Warren goes 7th overall, I'm not going to take a victory lap. If Membu or Will Campbell goes 7th overall, I have said on record 3 times during this segment, it's a great pick.
Yeah,
so I don't want to
I get it.
Oh, I told you.
I get what you're saying. But you're okay with it. Me and Boone aren't really huge fans.
Yeah, like I feel like when I was kind of firing you guys up in the chat, because when I said Tyler Warren 7th, you guys, oh my, I'm like, guys, they're either taking Membu or Will Campbell or Tyler Warren. It's gonna be one of those 3 players.
Agreed.
Just prepare yourself. I'll do that. Prepare yourself.
Hey, real quick before we move on, Dante, I forgot to acknowledge it earlier, man. Appreciate the $10. He says, well, I think Alex Bregman is kicking himself right now for choosing the Red Sox. Instead of the Tigers, Red Sox are down 14-1 in the 4th against the Rays right now. That's crazy.
And that was probably like, he commented that probably like 15 minutes ago, so it might be even worse now.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then Adam, appreciate the $2, says if BPA is the pick, that doesn't rule out QB in round 1.
If it's Jalen Monroe, it does. Tell
you yeah. No, appreciate that, fellows, for the shout out.
But I put a bet in for the Tigers today. It was just Baez hit. The game was already started. It was a live one. It was Baez, Dingler, and Torque. And Baez and Dingler have a hit. Everyone on the Tigers has a hit besides McKinstry and Torque. This happens to me every single time I've bet the Tigers the last 2 weeks. Is they get hot.
You got a carry bomb today.
8 of the 9 batters, like the last 4 times I've bet on them, are like. I get the one guy who doesn't get the hit in the day. That's just
look at 1.
Look at Pennywise. Baez has 2 hits.
Yeah, it's and like Torque, I think he has an RBI. He has a fly out, which doesn't count. So he's technically like 0 for 4. And he's like the only guy that's that 0 for 4. So yeah.
Well, we're gonna do a segment here we haven't done, and we do it closer to the draft where we give our overreactions. It's Overreaction Monday, so we're gonna kind of turn it towards the NFL draft. We're gonna give one chat, participate with this. All right, one overreaction for the Detroit Lions when it comes to the first round of the draft. And then you give me one overreaction when it comes to just the NFL draft in the first round. It doesn't matter what player, what team. So one Lions, one NFL. So for my Lions, I got one. All right. And this is one I've already hinted at, and I've done it in the mock drafts. It doesn't have to be like forcefully egregious where you say some hot take. It's going to be something I really believe. Like I genuinely
overreaction.
Because I do. I believe it. It's an overreaction, but I think I'm leaning this way. My overreaction for the Detroit Lions when it comes to the first round is this. When the draft starts next Thursday, we're going to be live and we're not going to witness a Lions pick. That's my overreaction. It's going to go every other team, and then when the Lions are up to pick at 28, you're going to hear, doo-doo-doo. The Lions have traded the 28th overall pick with the New York Giants or whoever to select some other player. And maybe it is Jalen Milroe Jalen Milroe to get that 5th-year option. But my overreaction is the Lions will not make a first-round pick. And I said it before in my mock, and I'm starting to really genuinely believe it. I think this might be the first ever where Brad trades back and acquires more picks. Because there'll be guys in the start of that second round just rattling off that are really good players. So I think he'll be comfortable in this one to do it. So that's my Lions overreaction, boys. The Lions won't make a first round pick.
That's I think, Jeff, this is interesting. I think you know what you did there because I told you mine earlier before the show on the stream. I see what you did there. You really have put me into a pickle, bud.
Shut with the bud thing. Hey, to be fair though, Boone, I told you, I said it's got to be something I really genuinely believe.
Fair, it is a big thing. It's an overreaction. Like it could be. Like I don't think it's that. Maybe it's not that big of an overreaction just to trade out. Like it's like, oh, that's just something. But I'll let you slide this time. Mine is an overreaction.
The one you genuinely believe?
Yeah, and it's the complete opposite of Jeff Iafrate's. Next Thursday, when the Detroit Lions pick and you hear the sound, boys. Wait, where's the sound at?
Be under media assets, Boone.
I got it, Boone.
I can't find it. Oh, it's at the top. The Detroit Lions will have 2 first-round picks next Thursday.
Oh.
2 first-round picks.
You're sticking with your narrative, the one mock draft where you think they're trading up from like 60 and some assets and moving back into the first.
I think there's something with Brad where I think there's a couple guys he likes. Gray Zabel, maybe Shamar Stewart, Mike Green, James Pierce. I think there's guys in this first round. We talked about it not being a star draft, but a starter draft. And in this first round, there are a lot of starters day one that you can bring in and say, hey, this is a guy that could play right away. Similar to what Brian Branch did 2 years ago, similar to what Sam Laporta did, Jack Campbell. Jack didn't really do it as much, but guys like that, you guys are getting my vibe here. Yeah. I think Brad is going to be aggressive, and I think he's going to get the guys that he wants. And if you want to say a little less of an overreaction, I said this, I actually said this to Jeff before the show when we were having the conversation. Whether it's 2 in the first round or if he trades back in into like the 30s or the 40s, I just think in the first 30, 40 picks, you see the Detroit Lions with 2 picks instead of just 1. Just because you have to wait until 60. I think he's going to be aggressive and he's going to get his guys. So I think 2 picks in the first round. And if you want to be a little less on that, 2 picks in the first 40 overall picks next Thursday.
Okay, 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, both valid prediction, boys, and mine really doesn't have anything. Kind of does. But my prediction is that the Detroit Lions will not draft a defensive end in their first 2 picks. I think it's very likely in the first round they go offensive lineman or D tackle, and then I would not be surprised at all if they go the opposite and go, if they didn't take offensive line, they're going to take D tackle the next round, and then they're going to be sitting in the second round. I do think they make 3 picks in the first 2 rounds. And I think they're going to get Josiah Stewart in the kind of like the end of the second round, and that'll be the first edge taken. We've seen it time and time and time again. When they needed a wide receiver, we wait into the 4th round. When they needed a tackle outside of Penei Sewell or offensive lineman, you see how they just fall, and then they finally pick that position. Dude's a stud, but it comes way later than people want him to. So I think in the first 2 picks, it's going to be offensive line, defensive tackle. Whichever order it doesn't matter. But then that 3rd pick in that second round, 60 overall, that'll be Josiah Stewart or a defensive end.
Oh, that one. Honestly, that's a good one. Because I'm thinking about it. It sounds terrible, but it doesn't sound that far-fetched, to be honest with you. It does. I mean,
I would be a little.
I wouldn't like it. Like I would not.
No.
But I could easily see that happening.
The fact that, and people like, this is where the side I don't like with those, like people kind of going about it that way is like, people are like, oh, well, it's such a deep edge class. Like you can get a guy late. Yeah, that's the case. But there are still levels to it, in my opinion. And I think in the first 30, like I think the guys in the first round, the Abdul Carters, Mike Greens, I'm gonna throw Shamar Stewart in there just based off of the potential. He's a Raku, James Pierce. I think those guys are in a different tier. And then you drop down, and then you can get your Jordan Birches and Nick Scortons and those guys. And I think those guys are very good, and they could have the potential of being starters. And then I think there's like that next step down. With guys, which again, I think they'll be good starters at some point, but I'm talking about day one. I think there's just boom, boom, boom. There's some different tiers to it. So that's why I would be like, if people are like, oh, just wait till the third. That's why I've had this conversation with you boys. Sometimes did Klotzy freeze, or is that me?
I think I was locked. I was locked into you, Boone. It might have been
frozen.
For a second.
It froze, and your eyes were like in the back of your head. It kind of freaked me out a little bit, dude. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, no, I just like that's why in every draft I did, I don't think I didn't have an edge rusher in the first 2 picks. I don't think I did it once. And I think you guys did it a couple times. And every time I see it, it just makes me just like cringe a little bit. I'm like, I hate this. Like if this happened, I would be like, I'm not going to be happy just Josiah Stewart. Like I want one of those top 10 pass rushers. I want one.
Yeah, I agree.
That sounds like a kid. Like I want that.
Mine. Throw a tantrum in the middle of the store when they say no.
Yeah.
Now I have an NFL one.
Ooh.
Shedeur Sanders will be the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft.
I think Jeff's is similar to mine again, and we're just going to be opposite on all of these, which is fine. It's okay.
The narrative for this draft is it's a weak quarterback class. And I'm not going to comment on the skill set of the players themselves, but what I will comment on is I think my overreaction for the NFL draft is there will be 3 quarterbacks taken in the top 10. That is my overreaction. 3 quarterbacks in the top 10. I think Cam Ward goes 1, Shedeur goes 3, and Jackson Dart goes to New Orleans. Book it, clip it. It's happening.
I hate that.
So I'm
happy you believe in it.
Mine's similar, and this is I watched. I saw someone say this weekend. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. Jeff, who was it again?
What with what?
I'm drawing a blank on the mock draft that I saw and listened to this weekend.
Todd McShay.
Great stuff.
Todd McShay has been talking to some people. And one thing that stands out to me is if Shedeur Sanders does not go to the Browns, as Caleb on Friday thought that he would, and if he does not go to the New York Giants, which he's holding the private workout for them, I always think these private workouts this late in the process it's weird. Whether it's smokescreen or not, I think it's like, why is a team like, shouldn't a team, if they want to draft you, shouldn't they know what you're about if they really are bought in on you? Like, why? What is a workout going to do? Do you guys know what I mean? Like, what's a private workout 10 days or 9 days before an NFL draft going to tell you about that quarterback that you should already know? So that's where I don't think, like, smokescreen on the edge of the Giants, where the Giants are going to try and either trade or they're going to do something with number 3 that it's going to be a little out of the ordinary. And then you get to 9, which is the next quarterback team, in my opinion. Boys,
Bone?
If Shedeur doesn't go in the top 3, he's going outside the top 20. Because at 9 overall, and this is where I started to change things, and Todd McShay broke it down very, very good. And he knows, he kind of knows the GM there, and he's had and you got to think about Kellen Moore as well. Who has Kellen Moore coached over the last couple stops he's had in the NFL? Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, and Justin Herbert. And those 3, who do they all? They're big body quarterbacks that are mobile, can run, and have an arm. If you had to take those exact things and put them on either Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart, it's Jackson Dart. He's a bigger body, more mobile, has an arm, better, if not the same, if not better. I think if the Saints had a choice, boys, between Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart, this is where I start turning to this Jackson Dart thing. I think they go Jackson Dart based off of what Kellen Moore likes in a quarterback. So if Shedeur doesn't go in those top 3, he goes outside the top 20, and he's the 3rd quarterback taken off the board in the NFL draft.
Not when the Niners take him, Boone. I'll tell you that much. It is interesting though, because I think Shedeur. I would take Shedeur above Jackson Dart. I would, but I don't think it's close. So it'd be like the Saints, like basically just, hey, this is our guy. We're taking him, and I don't hate it. I don't know if I would feel like there'd be a team to trade up and get him before that top 15, because even a team like, if you got to think, like a team like Indy, like they're staring down the like, okay, Anthony Richardson, the buster, we got Daniel Jones. Like I would, if he starts falling like a team like Indy, I wouldn't be surprised to take him. I like the take though, Boom. Like personally, like I'm not taking Shedeur Sanders inside the top 20, but I think he goes inside the top 20.
Yep.
So I like it.
I agree.
Boys, yeah, if you're going to hate this one. I had another epiphany this weekend, boys. Is it epiphany or epiphany? I think I'm saying that word wrong. Either way.
Epiphany.
Remember how I completely just dropped the ball on that Chiefs pick, drafted Ibuka there? I was like, I don't know who to take here. Figured out who to take there and who the Chiefs should take. And with them taking Travion Henderson, there will be 3 running backs taken in the first round of the draft. When we thought that was a long forgotten thing, boys, and I think this year, and my take's going to be 3 running backs in the first round, but I think there's 5 running backs taken within the top 40 of this year's draft, which is, compared to the last couple of years, would be a lot more. So I think 3 in the first round: Travion, Amarion Hampton, and Ashton Genty. I think those will be the 3. Maybe there's somebody that likes Caleb Johnson, your boy Boone out of Iowa. They take him 32 overall, Quinshon Judkins. But I think somewhere in the first round of this draft, I think 3 running backs will go.
That oh yeah.
Prepare yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, remember we left the combine, we're like Travion Henderson to the Chiefs. You know, like that was the thing. Let
me ask you this too, boys. What do you think about the Steelers taking a running back? Because they lost Najee, they have Jalen Warren, but they haven't brought in anybody.
In the first round, I don't think so. I think there's depth. In my opinion.
Go on, Boone. Because I actually, speaking of epiphanies,
Jeff just had one.
I had one the last couple of days about just the value, like just this running back class. If I'm a team, I'm not drafting a running back in the first round. I'm not
even the Cowboys in it. Like,
nope.
Okay.
It's one of the deepest running back. It's one of the deepest running back classes.
Buddy, that's not an epiphany for you. You've been on this for years.
Yes, but I'm saying, like, you know how we talk. Well, hold on. I should have phrased that differently, actually.
All right.
I don't think, like, I think for these teams, right? Like Ashton Genty, everyone's like, oh, that dude's like, you know, that I should have rephrased, because yeah, you're right. Ashton Genty is probably the most like, oh yeah, easily a top 10 pick. And I like Ashton Genty, but like the fact that Ashton Genty in this draft, and this is going to sound, how do I phrase this?
Yeah, I already know the fact that a 5'9" running back out of Boise State. No.
To be fair, Jeff, fair,
it's like in a deep running back class.
I get what you're saying. I get that point. I do get that point. If you're in a spot to where it's like, but no, Jeff, best way to explain it. If you're in a point where Ashton Genty's on the board, say you're like 11th or 12th and he's fallen, but there's another best player, like I don't know, like if you're sitting there between Genty or like
if you're the Raiders
Graham or something, like you're taking Mason Graham, in my opinion, because you can still get a running back at that level. You can't get a Mason Graham, and you're not going to get. But the thing is, you're not going to get a running back at the Ashton Genty level, because I think once you get outside the top 10, I think that argument in this year's draft is voided, because I do think if you did like rank the players in the draft, just not value, nothing, just best to worst, Genty's top 5 in everyone's rankings.
That's my point, though.
But like if he wasn't a running back, he's going first overall or second overall. If he wasn't a running back, that's just a fact. That's how good he is.
But like Cowboys,
well, the Cowboys. I'm just saying, like, if you get, there's a certain point you get in this draft to where those, like, there are only like 10 to 15 first round graded players in this draft. It is not a high end, again, not a star draft. If you were going to pick out stars in this draft, Ashton Genty is in that list. That's why I think if you're in a different draft, if you're in a different draft, then maybe Genty goes 20th something, or he goes outside.
I think 15. Him in that position speaks to the actual draft. That's why if I'm the Cowboys, let's say, like, and you can laugh all you want, if I'm the Cowboys and Genty's right there, I'm taking someone else, and I'm taking a running back in the second.
Dude, they have Rico Dowdle and Deuce Vaughn as the running back.
Okay. Your boy.
And they got Javonte Williams now.
Both running backs out of Ohio State. They're not Ashton Genty, of course, like statistics.
Travion, you've heard it multiple times. We talked to Jets running back coach at the draft. That's a first round pick. He's like, Travion's going first round.
I feel like that's died down a little bit. I do think I don't think Travion ends up going first.
If the Cowboys get him in the second, and you draft,
where do the Cowboys draft in the second?
Offensive line. They draft
let's look at this draft order. Let's go to the five teams I said are going to take a running back. Okay, in the top, I think Gentry goes to the Raiders. Okay, I think either Hampton goes to Buccaneers or Cowboys, or not Buccaneers, Broncos or Cowboys. I was about
to say.
Yeah, no, they don't need a running back. So there's 2. Then you're looking at the Broncos at 3, and then in the top 40, the Browns need a running back because they just lost Nick Chubb. The Giants have Tyrone Tracy as their running back, and I would not be surprised at all if the Saints want to take a guy there because they have nobody and Kamara's gone. Not saying that those guys can be first round picks, but when you're looking at the Chiefs, who's the Chiefs running back right now? And they're going to be a team that needs to rely to run the ball. If you could get a home run hitter, a 3-down running back in Travion Henderson because he's good at pass protecting, he's a monster in pass protection, great at catching the football, and elite between the tackles. You're taking him 32nd overall. Is anybody really complaining about that?
No. So, Klotz, this is the point though, and this is where I am with Jeff. Because I'm on both sides here, so I feel like I'm good. Should we just throw me in the middle? Should I just?
Okay, there we go.
This is my point though with that. Klotz, I agree with you. I think Travion's going to be very good. I almost we could bet a pizza on. He's not going in the first round. It goes again, and this is where it's in the draft. Those teams don't need to. They don't need to try and go out there and make a big splash with the running back. They can get to the second round and they can move up in the second, or they can get a guy that's almost at Travion level in the second. Again, I don't have time to say it over the next week. There are not that many first round graded players in this draft. So when you look at it and you go, all right, outside the top 15, when you're going from 16 to 32, Klotz, those they know I don't have to take a leap and I don't have to reach on Travion Henderson because he's going to be there in the second.
Not a reach though,
because it is because since the class is low, you start looking at positional value and you go, how can we get value out of these players from 16 to 32? A running back, when it's a lower draft, you're not going to reach on a running back when you're starting to look at positional value from those picks. You're going to start looking at the edges and the offensive line.
So if you're a team, again, I'm asking your opinion. If you're a team let's say the Giants, they go Travis Hunter, Abdul-Carter. They have offensive needs, they have defensive needs. In the first round, we'll use the Commanders. Are you taking a defensive player like Nick Scourton, or are you taking Amarion Hampton or Travion Henderson?
See, you can't do that. Travion Henderson and Amarion Hampton are two different players. Amarion could go top 15.
Amarion Hampton's better. If Travion Henderson's sitting on the board, are you taking him or Nick Scourton?
In the first round?
Yeah.
At 32?
Yes. Well, at 28,
all right.
Where they
let's say I have a back end third or a back end first. And I'm at 40. I'm gonna go Nick Scourton, and then I'm gonna wait a couple picks.
They sit they're just like the Lions. They sit at 29 in the first round, 29 in the second round.
If you really want him, you trade up and get him in the second because that's possible. You don't have to give up a lot to trade up.
You don't
know
if he's gonna be there. Again,
then you trade up so he is there.
Guess what? If he's not,
if you look
you're not reaching.
Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson is cooked. The Browns just lost Nick Chubb. The Giants, Tyrone Tracy. The Panthers, there's so many teams in that first part of the second round that I would not blame teams at all if they're there's going to be a lot of running backs that go right now. Let's get our guy in the first round. It's a deep edge class. A team like the Raiders, they take a running back there, fine. They can take a edge in the top of the second round. That's fine. But if you're sitting there and you need a running back at the late part of the first round, okay, you could get Travion Henderson, or you can wait for Devin Neal in the second round where you come up again.
So let's we got to move on because we're going to get to these fan mock drafts, and then we have my full first rounder. So we're going to get to fan mock drafts. I've gathered some. I got sent one by I'm only doing this because he's the only one that really sent me one that I saw. Benji, shout out. And then a lot of these are from our Crunch Time account, which you can send. We'll probably do one more segment before the draft. So get your mocks in. I saw some got them in today. So I got about 5. So we're going to get through these and grade them. So these are all from Lions fans, listeners, loyal listeners. This first one, I don't know the names for these. So if you see yours, you can point it out. But there's a lot here, so I don't know exactly who's who. But for the first one here, it seems like there's a crap ton of picks that the Lions got. I don't know what kind of black magic or what do they call it? Whatever voodoo stuff you pulled to get a first, a second, 2 4s, 5th, and 6th.
Jesus,
I don't know what. I don't know what this is, but we'll just keep going. Donovan Izaraku at 30. Okay. That's in the traded pick. They moved back. Jonah, I don't know how to say his last name.
Yep.
I'm not even going to butcher that. Offensive lineman, interior offensive lineman. At 60, Darius Alexander. So they pick 30, 56, 60, 102. 102, Chris Paul Jr., 109, Ozzie Trapillo. Offensive tackle, Boston College. 130, Jared Ivey.
130.
Yep. And then Lathan Ransom, 132. I mean, holy picks.
Oh, my God.
Noah Williams at 170, 196, Dante Thornton, 228, Pat Bryant. And then 244, Thomas Fedoni, the second. I like him.
No Sean Dolak, though.
No, I like Fedoni. But yeah, I don't listen, man.
Left no crumbs.
Yeah, I'd say some of the players in the positions, like, there we go. That's like, if you somehow got a lot of those guys, it's like a dream. Like Pat Bryant that late, Lathan Ransom at 132. I know Jared Ivey's dropped a lot, but if you get him at 130, that's like value. Chris Paul, they've met with him, I think, a million times. Donovan Izaraku, like you're adding Donovan Izaraku, Chris Paul, Jared Ivey.
I mean, I like
Lathan
the players.
Ransom, Darius
I don't
Alexander.
know. I mean, one of these have to hit, right, boys? I mean,
you might have like four that
at least
hit.
3 of them do.
Pat Bryant. I just don't think. I do think there's a sense with a lot of these. It's like the contracts with these rookie deals. I think there is something to that. In open roster spots, I guess
there's a lot. You're going to cut like 3 of these guys. I mean, that's just how it goes. Because like, there's no way. I mean, this is way too many players. This is how many players is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 10, 11, 12 players. I mean, geez, because like,
I do remember Mike Payton. Look at the trade. That trade, you just got like that's and just to trade back 2 spots, you just got like 10. That's funny. I remember, I think it was Mike Payton a couple weeks ago after our last signing that the Lions had, that put an article out and was saying, hey, the Lions are done. Like he thought the Lions were done making moves in free agency, and the reasoning was they were at a certain point on the roster, like a certain number. And if you add in the draft picks that they had, and then if you look back at like the last 4 or 5 years, UDFAs, they typically bring in a certain amount, or they've brought in like a minimum of amount, and Brad likes UDFAs. And if you added all of those up, like they were way over the number that they would be for OTAs and like the active roster that they need to be to. So that was why it was like, if they do make trades, they probably are going to, if they trade up into the second or into the first again, they're probably going to get rid of some from this year just because of roster spots. Unless they want to go like less UDFAs. So
let's give a grade on that one. Drop your grades. A lot of
I got two player wise. If we're talking just players, A+,
I'd say.
Yeah.
Rocking with 30, Boone, your boy.
Yeah, it's a good. Yeah, good players, man, in the draft.
Realistic.
Good players. Now the amount of picks, F. Just too many picks.
Yeah, out again, Boone. Mike's out.
For the next pick or the next draft, we have Benji. Shout out Benji. This is Benji's draft. I think it's 4 picks. I don't think he did a full one. But we'll grade them based on 4 picks. Gray Zabel at 28, 60. Femi Oladejo, 87. CJ West in 130. Jonas Sanker.
Here's the thing. I like the players. Like, I love CJ West. I think he's a sleeper in this draft. We just got done talking about Sanker. Don't know about you boys. I would have concern about Femi being the only edge taken in the first 4 rounds because he's played 1 year at the edge spot. Otherwise than that, he's been an off-the-ball linebacker. Not saying like it can't work out, but I don't think this is a player you trust year 1 and even at the beginning of year 2 to go out there and start making noise for this front 7, at least on the defensive line.
Yeah, I like this draft a lot. I like it.
I don't think Oladejo is going to be there at 60. I think he's going to be in the 40s, 50s.
I think Benji cooked on this one. I think that the only thing you'd say is you probably want like a more surefire guy at edge. But other than that, like he picked good players. I mean, Gray Zabel, CJ West, Jonas Sanker, Femi. Like Femi's a good player. And if Femi turns out he's pretty productive off the edge, then yeah, this draft age is a lot better. But I like the first 4 picks.
Is there any more picks?
No, he only did 4, the first 4.
Okay.
So
I would say after this, you go get a wide receiver, go get Nick Nash or something.
He said, I'd say that run to free agency, grab another edge if this were to take place.
I still think that I think whether it happens before within the next 10 days or not, I still think Zadarius Smith is going to be a Lion. So I think
after you think?
I probably after because I feel like it would have been done by now.
Yeah.
But I do think that Za'Darius is going to be. I think it's either like a Za'Darius or like a Matt Judon's going to be on this team. So like, that's where if we end up getting one guy like Oladipo, I'll be sitting there going, okay. Obviously, in the moment, I'm going to be a little like, all right, what are we doing, boys? After the weekend's over, but I still would be hopeful that Brad's still working. Do you guys remember the comments that Brad made about Edge? Him and Dan.
Yeah.
About Edge.
He said we're like he said we're always looking for talent in every position, but he said specifically Edge. Like I know it might not look like it, but he was like, if I find someone better and it's realistic and I can get the thing done, he's like, I'm doing it. Like, he was pretty transparent on it. That's why sometimes I don't get as frustrated with him not getting those deals done because he's been pretty open and adamant about those guys.
So let's get to the next one here. All right. This here, I don't know who this is, but I like it already. And if it is yours, please comment. Walter Nolan at 28. And then they trade
back.
Yeah. I mean, they received 65, 199. In New York. Yeah, they did. They traded up.
They traded back 5.
Traded back 5. I'll say this just right off the jump. I just don't think that's realistic with Oladipo.
Traded back for 2/3. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think you have to trade up for Oladipo. Maybe I'm wrong. I think he ends up going in the 40s, or almost at the beginning of the second round.
So Walter Nolan, Femi, Charles Grant, your boy Isaac Tesla. Did you send this draft, Lucas?
I know. That's why I was like, I like this draft.
Seth McLaughlin, and then Ty Robinson, Jordan Hancock. Yeah,
that's a good one.
If the Lions walked away with this draft class, I would be through the roof because I know I just talked about Femi kind of being the only true edge there. But if you're able to get Walter Nolan, to Boone's point, like, okay, maybe you just go Marcus Davenport, Zadarius Smith again, and then you have Femi sitting back there. But if you bring in Walter Nolan, especially with Aleem out, like that's a pass rushing defensive tackle that could turn into, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a comp for him, but it's harder at the top of the moment. He just plays fucking angry, man. He's athletic. I love Walter Nolan. I don't think there's any way. You'd have to trade up. Like, I love all these players, but I don't think the picks are realistic. But if you move up for Walter Nolan, Femi's in there somehow. Everybody else, like, realistic, I think. But I love this draft.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. I'm at those point, boys, where it's like I really want Ty Robinson to be a Detroit Lion. Like, I want to see what this would look like.
If my only thing I'll say, and this is just my opinion, I like Isaac Tesla. I don't think he's third round pick material. I don't think he's a third round pick, man.
All right, glad someone said it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I didn't. No, I think
and that again, the guy would route me up. But I'm not arguing.
I love Isaac Tesla.
But the reality, I'm just basing it off of like projection, like 102 Isaac Tesla. Like if you're drafting in the third round, dude, you're expecting big things out of Isaac Tesla. Like I think he's probably better suited if they took him, fifth, sixth. Maybe he won't be there in the sixth.
Yeah, he ain't gonna be there.
But fifth, round 3's a little. I think a little
rich.
There you go, Klotz.
I disagree. I think he's a late round guy. When I tweeted out that they met with them, in my tweet, I literally said he's a guy you could steal at the end of the draft. I think he's a guy. And even six is. It's not being disrespectful. Like I just think
Klotz likes him. Which I don't blame you.
Like I think he's good, but again, like Klotz, if you want to talk about Shamar Stewart not having the production, like Isaac Tesla's had like 500 yards his 2 years at Arkansas each. Like he hasn't had the production.
Fifth round.
But like in the 5th round, like Nick Nash is sitting there who led the country in yards and touchdowns. I'm taking him, and he's an X. Like I'm taking him. I like Isaac Tesla.
I don't think like when I think of like Nick Nash, Pat Bryant, Kyle Williams, I think of those guys as like 3rd, 4th round guys. I think of Isaac Tesla as like the beginning of that tier after because guys, he's 6'4". Like let's not forget he's 6'4", blocks his ass off and runs a 4.4. So like translating wise, I understand Boone like. I'm not going to be here like, oh, the production, like who cares? Like, no, production matters. That's why he's not going to be a top 3 round pick. But like, if you're asking him to translate, like
but
like
there are guys who have the production and do that as well. Like Nash and block. But like those guys do, like these guys do it. Pat Bryant will block. He won't drop passes. He has the production. He does
I don't like he's not. I'm not saying he's like that tier under Pat Bryant, Kyle Williams,
which I think is 5th, 6th.
Well, the next mock we have here. By the way, the Benjis, I like that one a lot. I give that one an A.
Yeah, that was
this one with Walter Nolan, I really like. I mean, these are all pretty good so far.
I'll give it an A-.
Yeah, I like this one. I'd probably give it a similar grade there. This last one we'll do. I don't know whose this is either, but Gray Zabel at 28, and then trade with the Eagles.
That's interesting.
Lions received 64 and 164. Eagles received 60, so they trade back and they take Femi, Jonas Sanker, Pat Bryant, Jackson Hawes, Howard Cross III, Colin Oliver, and
Come on, Sean.
This is a Klotz guy. This is a Klotz guy.
A plus.
Who sent this in? Can you go look?
That I don't know. I pulled these all off our Twitter. I'd have to go back and look. We don't have enough time, but if it is yours, comment on this video or on the channel. I mean, I'd love to see who it is. This is another good one. I mean, I don't mind this one. I think my critique would probably be another. I just want an edge besides Oladejo, man, like a bigger player who's played edge more consistently, a little more like reliable. Like Oladejo to me is like someone that I think could thrive at edge, but we've only seen him 1 year. Like, I think you're basically just taking a swing on him and being like, all right, Oladejo, give me 8 to 9 sacks a year or 7 to 9, whatever. I'd like one more edge in this draft.
I almost look at his Oladejo as like less experienced Jahad Campbell. Like,
and Colin Oliver. Sorry, I just want to say this. Colin Oliver is a fine player. I think that's a fine pick. They took Colin Oliver. That's another edge, but a little higher. But anyway, sorry, Klotzy, go on.
No. I was just saying, I think he pretty much is the same thing as Jahad Campbell. You're just leaning on him to be more of a pass rusher. Campbell's just so good at playing linebacker, keep him there. But he's never going to be like an edge, in my opinion.
They took Pat Bryant, though, in the 4th. Isaac Tesla.
4th round, though. The value, I'm telling you, 4th round.
I'm taking Pat Bryant over Isaac Tesla. I agree with you boys there.
I'm an Isaac Tesla stan, too, man. We're all in on Isaac Tesla, hometown kid. Love the story. Love him.
I really am. But I'm just telling you like it is, man. And our first round,
glad you said something, because
my first round NFL draft, I'm going to tell you like it is. All right. And we're each going to do 2 versions of this. The boys will be breaking down because we didn't do this last year. I think it's a good addition. I mean, listen, guys, we do Lion stuff. We want to expand more, do more, just NFL in general. And I think predicting, keyword predicting. I'm not sitting here telling you what I think the team should do. It's what I think they will do. Okay. And funny enough, I made this and I sent it to you guys and I said no trades. I actually did 1 trade. And don't ask me why. It was like,
I think it's fair.
But it's not even realistic because like if I'm doing trades, it's going to be more than 1 trade in a first round.
I think you should do trades. Most teams or mock drafters do trades.
I do. I wanted to do like one with my first one without, next one with, but I just did it anyway. I did 1. And you know what that maybe is a sign of? It is going to happen. This 1 trade. Because it was like a feeling. Like something, it's just like a spirit, like the NFL spirit.
Your first orgasm.
Okay.
Mock orgasm.
I don't think that had anything.
Yeah, you took it to another. But you know what, though?
Can we just see the mock draft?
I
want to see this thing.
And then we'll get to who I had the Lions taking. And I'll explain that because it was a tough situation, which made me realize, boys, there could be a tough situation at 28.
Oh, wait. Are you sure? The tough. Oh, wow. It's like I've been saying tough situation. I've been warning the boys.
28th overall. Get ready.
So bad. And
there's no victory lap.
There's literally nothing to victory lap.
There's no victory lap. I don't victory lap. I just tell how it is.
He'll do the nose sniff. He'll go.
This guy.
I tell how it is, man. That's all it is.
There's really nothing to victory lap, though. But anyway, let's get to this mock. All right, Cam Ward is going number 1. All right, it's a no-brainer. It's what I think, and it's what I know. All right, Travis Hunter's going number 2 to the Cleveland Browns. It's BPA at that point. And listen, the Browns are in a position where, you know what? Here, let me do this because I don't like you guys looking at me while I'm doing this. All right, this is my time.
No, I like this.
No, get off my screen. Travis Hunter. All right, let me tell you about Travis Hunter. All right, he's going number 2.
Can you slide the? I don't like how these logos are covered up. Maybe just scroll down. There we go. Come on now.
All right, Travis Hunter, BPA at that point. I think the Browns, they're in. I think it's going to be Travis Hunter, boys. I don't think it's going to be a quarterback. I think it's going to be best player available, and it's going to be Travis Hunter. He's going to be sitting there at number 2, and the Browns are going to be thinking to themselves, listen, we're trash. We're a trash organization. Travis Hunter's not going to be happy with this pick, but you know what? They're taking the best player on the board here, and they need corner. They need a corner. They need a wide receiver, and you get both of them in 1 player. So easily one of the best players in the draft. And the guy's going to be here. And I'm zooming in, by the way, because it's a lot of picks. So we got to zoom in a little bit. I'll zoom in out the end. Number 3, Shedeur Sanders. Yes, I know. I don't care. I think he's going to New York. I still believe it. You can't tell me. And I don't care. This is where we disagree, Klotz, because you'll think you have this little cute theory. It's like, oh, draft Jalen Milroe and then you can buy some time. And like, no, you know what's going to happen. Let me tell you something. If they draft Abdul Carter here, for example, which my buddy, Giants fan, wants Abdul Carter. He's going to be pissed at this. But the reality of it is this. If they draft Shedeur Sanders, Brian Daboll has something to sell. And so does Joe Sheen. They have something to sell. If you're telling me you pass on Shedeur Sanders and he ends up being a really good player and they just passed on Jaden Daniels, or they missed out, on Jaden Daniels, what do you think that's going to say to the fan base? Okay? It's going to look very, very bad. So at least you can sell patience. You can sell a rookie quarterback who's going to sit behind 2 vets and learn, and then he'll be our franchise QB next year. And then they could draft a running back in the second round. Abdul Carter falls to the Patriots. Easy pick for them. They go ahead and scoop up the best defensive player in the draft. And then at number 5, I'll move down here. Number 5, Mason Graham to the Jacksonville Jaguars. He is the big fellow, the defensive tackle, a very elite player. And I'll tell you this right now. Jacksonville needs talent, and Mason Graham's the best player on the board. So he's going to Jacksonville, and he's going to be a really good player. 2 really good edges next to him. It's going to age pretty well over there in Jacksonville. Gladstone was a part of the Rams. They found some really good defensive tackles. So yeah, you'll see that. At number 6, Ashton Jeanty going to the Raiders. Ashton. It just makes a ton of sense for them. I don't agree with it, but it's what the Raiders are going to do, man. They're going to take a running back at 6. Pete Carroll's head of the helm. And they're going to draft a player that can help him right away. So Ashton Jeanty's going to be a Raider because at this point, Jackson Dart's the only quarterback on the board, and you'll see very, very soon why he is the only quarterback on the board because he goes a couple picks later. Number 7, Armand Membu to the Jets, the only right pick and the correct pick. The Jets take a right tackle, and it's Aaron Glenn's first pick, a part of the Jets, and the Jets should make the smart decision and take a right tackle. Do it. And then at number 8, I have something that I think is going to happen, boys. It makes too much sense to me. And that is the Panthers taking a wide receiver. I know these mocks have Jalen Walker every time going to the and let me zoom out. Maybe it's just better. Let me just do this. So we just see every pick. Fuck it. All right. So I know every mock has the Panthers taking Jalen Walker. I understand that. But let's think about this for a second. Bryce Young is their quarterback. You still need to find out if he's a true franchise quarterback. Adam Thielen's not getting any younger. And I don't care that they took Leggett. I think Leggett's fine. But Leggett isn't good enough to say, oh, we don't need a wide receiver right now in the first round. You don't. And you get a guy in T-Mac who is a quarterback-friendly receiver. Go get it. Big playmaker. It doesn't matter. He's 6'5". He'll find a way to get open, and he's going to help Bryce Young out a lot. And I think helping him out right now should be the priority, not drafting a linebacker hybrid edge right now. It should be finding out if you have a fucking franchise quarterback. So that's what's important for the Panthers. At number 9, Jackson Dart to the New Orleans Saints. They've worked out with him. I think Kellen Moore, as an offensive guy, I think he's going to love Jackson Dart. And at this point, Shedeur and Cam are both off the board, and they get the guy they've met with consistently, and that's Jackson Dart. I think there's 3 quarterbacks in the top 10. I said that before, fellas, and I'll keep saying it. And then you see Will Campbell, 10 to the Bears, makes a ton of sense. 11, Walter Nolan, I have him to the 49ers. Yeah, Klotzy, this is what I think will happen. Number 12, Amarian Hampton, running back to the Cowboys. 13, Calvin Banks, the Dolphins draft. The best player, best offensive tackle, guard, whatever you project would be on the board. 14, Tyler Warren goes to the Colts. They're going to draft Tyler Warren. It is what it is. 15, Mike Green goes to the Falcons. They get the best edge rusher on the board. And then at 16, Will Johnson falls. But guess what? The Cardinals get one of the best players in the draft, in my opinion, an excellent player, and someone that if he didn't get hurt would go much higher. And now you have Will Johnson and Marvin Harrison Jr. on the same team, ironically enough, and they sure up that secondary. 17, Kenneth Grant going to the Bengals. 18, Donovan Izaraku to the Seahawks. 19, Jahad Campbell to the Bucks. 20, Matthew Golden goes to the Broncos. I think it's a great fit there. And then at 21, I have my only trade. I think the Rams make a ballsy move. Not ballsy, but they do something. They be aggressive, all right? And they go up and get Josh Simmons because they jump the Texans and the Vikings, the Packers, and the Chargers. Not that some of those teams won't take a tackle, but they want to make sure they get their guy, their future starter at left tackle, the future on the offensive line. And at this point, all the quarterbacks are off the board. So you're getting one of the best players, if healthy, in the draft at 21. And I think he's going to, you got to protect Matthew Stafford. At 22, Colston Loveland goes off the board, tight end to the Chargers, reunites with Jim Harbaugh. 23, Michael Williams. 24, Malachi Starks. And then 25, the Texans, they take Gray Zabel instead. And then at 26, the Steelers, with no quarterbacks available, they trade back. And they ended up getting Jalen Walker, who ended up falling. With this whole TJ Watt stuff, they kind of get a player that's not TJ Watt, I don't think, but someone that can kind of play that role of like hybrid linebacker edge. And then at 27, James Pierce Jr. goes off the board of the Ravens. And then that leaves the Lions with a very interesting scenario where you have Shamar Stewart there, and he is the best player available, that's how I drafted Boone. I did best player available. And in my opinion, at this point, it's got to be Shamar Stewart in terms of what they value, which is athleticism, upside, versatility, all the measurables, everything. So Shamar Stewart's a Lion. At 29, Nick Scorton goes right away. His teammate to the Washington Commanders.
Back Aggies.
30, Jade Barron goes to the Bills. And then at 31, the Chiefs take their Chris Jones replacement for the future, Derek Harmon. And then at 32, the Eagles go corner, take Trey Amos. And before you sit here and go, why the Eagles take a corner? They lost Darius Slay. They have Quinyon Mitchell. They have Cooper DeJean in the slot. They don't have a cornerback too, right? And they met with a ton of corners. So I think in Howie's position, it actually makes sense to take back-to-back corners because they lost a corner and they didn't re-sign one. So, or they didn't sign another one that's that caliber corner they lost. So I think Trey Amos would be a really good player for them. And Keely Ringo's starting at corner for them. So
yeah, no way.
Yeah,
and they got Sidney Brown coming back off injury. That rookie from Illinois last year, he got hurt. He's gonna be really good at the safety room. So I don't think they'll go safety either.
Yeah, so it's corner or edge, and at this point, edge isn't like he's the best player available there. Yeah. But yeah, this is my full first round mock, boys. One trade. It's don't ask me why. Probably
it was a good. Honestly, I think it was a good mock. I think top to bottom. I liked a lot of the things that I've been doing the last week, like the Marion Hampton. I had that Cowboys pick. I like that. I think that happens. I remember I traded back with the Cowboys. I think they might just go him at 12 though and go Marion. Yeah, I don't have anything. I'm trying to see here. There's nothing, honestly.
I got three things, or Jeff. Two that I'm like, what are we doing here? And one, it's like understandable. I just don't think it happens. Number one, and we really don't have to get into it that much. There's no way, no how Shedeur Sanders is going top 3. Okay, as a Shedeur fan like yourself, you should want that to be the case as well. Okay. Like if Shadeur's drafted there and he doesn't play year one, Dable's fired. And they go and win some games, he still could be fired. What's giving him the best chance? Winning games. We went down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, we talked about that today already.
My thing that I'm like, there's no shot this happened is, in my opinion, Jade Barron falling to 30. Especially when, I think ETN even said something in the chat, when the Rams are sitting there. I know you had the Rams trading up, but even like the Vikings, the Packers, if Jade Barron's sitting at 22, I find it really hard that Jim Harbaugh passes on him, especially because they don't have Asante Samuel Jr. anymore. Those are like my two things where I'm like, no way, no how. And then the other one is, I just don't think Jalen Walker falls this far, but he could because, again, he's very raw. I just don't think – I think he's like a top 15 guy. Like, I think the Colts, if he's sitting there at 14, could take him. Don't hate it. But everything else, no issue with. Even Shamar Stewart at 28, I've come – this has been my thing that I've came with, boys. Pause. Just got to stop saying that, Boone. I've been bitching so much about trenches. So Shamar Stewart, I'm not going to love the pick, but I'm going to like it if it happens at 28 because he's going for a defensive end. It might not be my guy. Boo-hoo. I'll get over that. As long as Brad Holmes is taking a defensive end that's like a true defensive end, not a tweener, like I think I'm coming around to again, I'm never going to love this pick, at least like until we see him play. Like he's like, I'm going to be very consistent on, I'm going to have to fucking see it out of Shamar Stewart. Like I'm not going to be hyping it up and be like, okay. But I'm not going to be like, fuck this, like walking out. Like, I know I don't like the prospect, but I like the position. So I've come
Klotz, you're
around
not
to
going to
Smart
say
Stewart a
anything
little bit
about
more.
20?
What's 20, Boone?
You had a lot to say to me on Friday about 20. You're just going to let him slide?
You picked Matthew. I don't think Matthew, like Jeff's been very persistent
wondering.
on T-Mac, but I think Matthew Golden at 20, like that's the best case for Matthew Golden. Like for him to have an outside receiver in Cortland Sutton and he can just take up the middle of the field with Bo Nix. I love that. You said it, Boone, you made that pick. I was like, I love that pick on Friday.
Yeah, I think
You're
it was,
like,
no, someone picked T-Mac.
I picked T-Mac. It was just wide receiver in my opinion, but
yeah, I think.
I don't like T-Mac to the Broncos. Like as much as a Matthew Golden, like you're getting why
Either
two of the
one.
same thing when you have a variety. Like it's George Pickens and DK Metcalf.
So I'll address, and the one I will say on this is why the next one we're going to clean some stuff up. It's 1.0, all right? Even though we're a week and a half away. But the thing I don't hate is the Jalen Walker stuff. He should go higher.
he's gonna.
It's just how the board fell. I when you really do these and you try and make these selections, to like, okay, this makes sense, this makes sense, this makes sense. I'm not planning like ahead. So when you get to a point where Jalen Walker's there, you're like, wow, this could actually happen. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that the big fork in the whatever the saying is,
Fork in the road.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, then we'll go with that. Is T-Mac going to the Panthers instead of Jalen Walker? I just don't think Jalen Walker. I just don't like. I like Jalen Walker, but
I don't
if
see
I'm
him going outside the top 15 though.
you don't see him.
Yeah, he's
He's a Georgia Bulldog now, Hefe.
No,
that carries weight.
What pick would in the top 15 then should have been him?
Like I said, I think Colts 14. I wouldn't even be surprised, boys. Remember who we talked to at the Combine too? Matt Eberflus. Well, he's a defensive guy. He loves Shamar Stewart, but if Jalen Walker's sitting there, very raw type of guy, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, hey, we just lost to Marcus Lawrence. We like having a good front seven where multiple guys are getting sacks.
I was
Jalen
thinking
Walker
the Bears.
off the ball.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Bears?
think the Colts, but I even think if you just look at the top 20, like if Jalen Walker starts falling, that's a player that like some teams get aggressive and try and move up a few spots to snag him. Like the Falcons, like if Jalen Walker's at like 12 or 13 and the Falcons know like, hey, the Colts might get him.
So you'd rather have Jalen Walker over Mike Green?
No,
I think the player,
like some GMs might.
I think the player, because Mike Green's probably going to be just a straight edge. Like Jalen Walker is going to be able to do a lot for you. Like he's going to be very versatile, and I think like his ceiling is very, very high. Remember, I said it.
No, go on. Sorry.
I don't know. I just
because he can't cover, so he's not dropping
him and Mike Hill. I think both of them have just such a high ceiling to where it's like you can't.
He has like as far as a role, like he's able. Like think about again. He's not going to be TJ Watt, but TJ Watt's off the ball a lot, and they drop TJ Watt into coverage sometimes, but he's elite at getting to the quarterback. So he's like a 3-4 outside linebacker. Like Micah Parsons originally wasn't like playing on the defensive line consistently. Remember, they moved him down, and that's the ceiling that Jalen Walker can bring. If like he's elite at getting to the quarterback, leave him there. But if he's an elite athlete at stopping the run, keep him as an edge. He might not be a 12-sack guy. He can give you 8 sacks, but he's giving you a good look against the run too.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, this is 1.0. The boys will have theirs as well.
Yeah. They're like I said, only 3 things. There's 32 picks.
Yeah,
I saw the like I'm not taking T-Mac at 8, but I see the vision for it. To your point, like you want to figure out what the fuck's up with Bryce. Could take Tyler Warren there, but
this guy,
you got Tommy Tremble as their tight end.
This guy's
don't let Tommy Tremble get loose.
This tight end stuff with you, Klotz, has to end. We got it. We got to lock in.
He's going top 10. He fits with the Jets. He fits with the Panthers. He fits with the Saints, and he fits with the Bears. He's going in the top 10.
Hey, you know what? Who's the Giants tight end? Why don't the Giants just take him?
They need one, right?
Why not? Who's the Titans?
Yeah, no, we gotta think. Let me connect this down.
Take the guy.
I'm gonna try to think without looking it up.
Take the guy.
You won't be able to guess. It's like probably some random dude.
He's a fit, but I'm not taking him over Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter.
No, I'm kidding.
Gosh, man.
All right, we'll get out of here. Appreciate you all. We'll be back tomorrow, as always. Much love to you guys. I think we might have just hit. I have to double check, but we might have hit 13,100. Or we're like 1 away. We're 3 away. Tell a friend, man. Tell a friend. We're 3 away.
Burner account.
Yeah, get a burner account. We're 3 away from 13,100, man. But much love to you all. We'll catch you tomorrow, 8 p.m. But until then. We'll catch you.
Love you guys.
Peace.